Can you imagine us on Judgment Day? Did you feed the hungry and clothe the naked? Well, I paid my taxes.
I paid my taxes.
Okay, I'm done just loving my country. It's time to fight for my country. The days of us like sending our kids to school and trusting that they're only learning math and science, if a time ever existed, that is long gone. But we just don't vote. And we have to start, because there are groups out there who are actively deceiving women. I'm talking about MWEG.
Back east somewhere, there was another boy in girls' sports where he spiked the ball.
Oh, that's
That was in my home state of North Carolina.
Hit the girl in the face and broke her skull.
Yes, she's permanently disabled because of that.
Welcome out to God and Country. I'm Uriah Kennedy. Ingrid Betcher's on the other side right there. We've got a great guest on with us this week. This is Jean Rivera from Utah County, coming in from Utah Moms for America, and kind of helping the election get people registered and voting. There's a lot that we're going to discuss about the differences going on right now between men and women as far as politics, as far as your view on whether you're liberal or you're conservative, whether you're for abortion or you're against abortion. The divide is happening amongst men and women. One of the biggest polls that came out is showing that a large number of young white men are going more conservative than men. The college Republicans are in here. They're noticing the same thing. As there's a vast number of young white men that going conservative, and women are going more liberal. I mean, getting more purple hair, getting more orange hair, getting all that kind of stuff, getting more pro-abortion and fighting about it. There's a couple of big podcasts that's all they talk about. Yeah. I think everybody's seen the Outnumbered podcast, and he loves bringing in liberal girls and talking about that. He's always talking about a lot of the women he brings on are, well, we can do everything a guy can do, and they're so conceited on that. I'm like, you guys are crazy if you think you can do everything. It's just not how this thing works. And it's kind of shows how, I mean, women are always more loving and more passionate and more nurturing on kids, and that nurturing side is being lost in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
And it's affecting the next generation, because our kids are not growing up with that nurturing, loving environment either. So, again, we're going to get a lot into this. There's a lot of articles we're going to discuss. So like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you are helping us get out there. YouTube, as we keep saying, love suppressing conservative values and conservative voices.
Give us some love on TikTok. We just get slashed by all the libs on there. They make no sense. You can tell they haven't listened to anything in the short, but they've got something to say about it.
Yeah, they'll listen to 30 seconds and they're already commenting about something. We get comments that have nothing to do with the video. So I know they didn't even watch any of the video, and they're commenting about, like, what are you talking about? That had nothing to do with the video. Did you even watch the short, let alone the podcast, before you start commenting?
Nope.
They just like throwing their BS out there. And the funny thing is, a lot of their comments, I read, I'm like,
what are you trying to say?
What? That doesn't
like,
make,
are you
is that English?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Some of them just don't make any sense. Look down below, get our t-shirts. We need the support to support the channel, help us amplify what we're doing out there, help us pay to get advertising out there so we can get our voices out there. That would help a lot if you would purchase t-shirts. And then we are going to get right into it. So, Jean, kind of tell us how did you get into politics, and what made you start this organization?
Well, I grew up in North Carolina, lived by Fort Bragg, so I have always loved America. I've always had appreciation for our military and always kind of had a distrust of our government, you know. I moved out here. I served an LDS mission out here. I love it out here. It's beautiful. And I was a stay-at-home mom, you know, just raising my children, and then COVID happened. And I've always thought the government has gone too far, but that was the final straw for me, because it was making my kids, it was sending the message that breathing fresh air was dangerous. And I was like, I cannot allow this anymore. So I went to my local caucus meeting, and I didn't even know what a delegate was, but my friend, I pay attention. So she was like, you got to do it. You'd be great. So I got voted to be a state delegate, and I started vetting candidates and doing all that. And that's how I met the current state director, Carrie Bartholomew. She was running for the state school board. And she was like, come over, we're going to have cocoa and talk about America. And I was like, what? I'm in. So she told me about this national organization, Moms for America. And the mission is to empower parents, promote liberty, and raise patriots. What our goal is to teach people or reteach people about America and what a miracle it is. And so I know that there's so many things I'm learning in these like little meetings that I don't remember learning in school, or I have long since forgot. So that's our mission. We just want moms to be empowered with knowledge and know that they can speak up for what they think. They don't have to be political experts. I am certainly not. You know, I pay attention to the legislative sessions, and half of what they say, it's like a foreign language to me. But I'm like, hey, my opinion matters, and I care about what goes on in my county, in my city, and in my state.
How often do you guys meet?
Well, we meet statewide once a month on Zoom, because you know how it's like getting moms together. It like takes all the stars in the universe to align. So we do it on Zoom, but there's other smaller groups that meet in person. Like we have a Provo group that's pretty strong. They meet once a month. There's a group in Spanish Fork that's meeting once a month. So kind of just however we can get together.
I'm kind of jealous. I didn't have a resource like this when I was raising my kids.
Yeah, and now we have this great platform called Moms Town Square. You just go to momsforamerica.us, and it's just like a website where like-minded moms that love our country, love our kids can talk, and they have great free resources. So you don't have to, it's not a membership, you don't have to pay, but they have courses on the healing of America, naked communist, naked capitalist, a course on the Constitution, training on how to be a school board ambassador. All these resources free for moms to just get involved, because I got to tell you, so many moms say they feel like they don't know enough to get involved. It's just not true.
I didn't even notice as a parent with my kids in grammar school. I mean, because I'm a product of the 60s and 70s, so we were getting it. We were getting it in our education, and I was really involved, and I didn't notice that they weren't getting that in school.
Yeah,
I really didn't, and I really regret that.
yeah. It's just it's become popular to hate our country, and I don't know when this shift happened.
I like it you say that, because it seriously has become like the in thing to
That's
hate
who
America.
The rebels are. They hate America.
You get all these conservative on the street type podcasters out there, TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, and they'll go out to the colleges on the streets in various cities, and what do you think, America? America, I hate America. America deserves to fall. And I'm like,
Absurd.
Well, why? Well, we're racist. What ways are we racist?
Where are you going to go?
I don't know.
What's better than America? Tell me. And yeah, they have nothing.
and the entire world figured that out during the
World Cup.
here.
Yeah.
I'm like, now they're all jealous. I'm like, because they all state, it's all over YouTube and everything, how their media organizations, their foreign media organizations were just, Utah's just crime.
Yeah.
It's just these big cities. They're violent over there.
I mean, our media tries to get us to hate America.
Their streets are garbage.
Yeah.
That's
There's
one of the things that makes me the sickest is I can't even watch my own local news.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's just paint jobs everywhere and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. And they come over here and this is not what I expected. The people are so nice. They're so inviting. The streets are wide. They're huge.
Yeah.
Their stores are big. They just have nothing but positive things. They're like, America doesn't have any culture. Then they discover Texas barbecue.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm like,
My favorite's when they walk into a grocery store. That always makes me feel so good.
let's see how big our stadiums is, or see what college sports is like right here. There was a few that went to a few college games. Were like, this is bigger than our national soccer teams in college sports. And so, and the patriotism, one of the things they always say is everybody's flying an American flag.
Yeah, I went to the game against, now I forgot. But it was crazy because everybody was wearing, all decked out in their America stuff. I didn't know who was Democrat, who was Republican, it was electric. I'm not a soccer fan. My husband's a huge soccer fan. And so I went. That was the first soccer game I'd ever watched in my life, but it was one of the best sporting events I have ever been to.
Agree.
That's amazing, because patriotism comes out when it's a bunch of other countries, but you get them alone on the streets and it's just a bass session. And you can tell that our education system has just really let down the next generation.
Absolutely.
Which is why your organization is so important, because one of the demographics that's getting hurt the worst with current modern education is women.
Yes, absolutely.
Women are, and we'll get into this a little later, they're going more liberal than other men are. They tend to vote Democrat by vast numbers higher than
But Jean nailed it. I mean, right now, what's more important is what's in, what's hip, what's popular.
Right.
And so that's all they care about.
And also they've learned to manipulate women's emotions. So they put something that sounds good and they make women vote for things that are just unsustainable.
Because we want to be
illogical.
compassionate.
Of course.
Most of us are compassionate by nature.
Yes.
So you put something on there and say, this is what compassion is.
Yeah. So I had a conversation with the lady. We were arguing about Trevor Lee's bill. And she said, Jesus wants us to feed the hungry, period. And I said, yes, Jesus wants us to feed the hungry.
By force?
Not the government. He doesn't want the government to take our money, pay their employees, and then give the poor what's left. He wants you and I to do it. And there is no state in America that is better equipped to feed the hungry and clothe the naked than Utah. We could do it without the government involvement.
That's right.
But she thinks, for her, it's a compassion thing.
Did that hit anywhere for her?
I don't know. She didn't continue the conversation.
I think it's not even just a compassion thing. It's a forced compassion thing.
Forced compassion. Yes.
Well, there's not enough people getting involved in feeding the hungry, so we need to put our foot down and make them do it. So the government's got to get involved. It's just, if they're not going to be compassionate, we got to be compassionate
right, but
for
that's
them.
not God's way, is to force people.
What they don't understand is you actually grow by being compassionate.
Yes.
And if somebody's being compassionate for you in your stead, there's no growth.
I mean, can you imagine us on Judgment Day? Did you feed the hungry and clothe the naked? Well, I paid my taxes.
Paid my taxes.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
My governor did it for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Doesn't work that way.
No, absolutely.
And like you're saying with the compassion side of this thing, the media, the left, they really know how to manipulate those emotions. And even when it comes down to the border and ICE,
absolutely,
they're like, you're separating families, you're putting kids in cages, and it's just these huge fake narratives, because it's so not
fake.
true. But
so not true.
They spin that and they spin it, and it's just 24/7 news cycle where everybody believes it, and the women are shocked because it's families and kids, right? And then it doesn't matter what you say after that; they will not believe that it's a false narrative, because they're emotionally tied into it already.
Okay, well, criminals should be separated from their families. If I break the law, the police are coming at me wherever I am, because there was this big thing about, they're going to be able to go into churches and schools. Okay, if I murder someone, the police are coming wherever I am to get me. So immigrants don't deserve better treatment than American citizens do. And if I break the law, the cops are coming after me wherever I am. And I am being separated from my kids. So that's life. And they're thinking about it. It comes from a place of compassion. They love, they don't want to see children and families get harmed, but it's just wrong.
Well, most of the time they weren't even separating the parents from the kids, but that's not what cameras show, though. The
Right.
cameras show one narrative, and then they run with it, even though that's not what's happening. And the ICE or Border Patrol are not out there convincing them that's not what we were doing in that video. Why are you showing that?
Right.
How many times have we caught them showing videos that have nothing to do with what they're talking about? They grab it from a different year,
Yes.
a different administration.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
And they even grabbed one kid that was playing with his uncle, with cops and robbers with his uncle, and they showed him, oh, they're separating this kid. I'm like, that was a YouTube video of a family playing with his little kid, and you guys twisted that into that's ICE. It was his uncle.
Yeah. The goal is to invoke that emotion.
Yeah.
And gets people to think irrationally.
Sadly to say, guys don't usually buy into it because
Right.
we're very, very logical,
Yeah.
and then women do because they're very, very emotional. It's that's just how things are.
Yeah.
But men and women are created like that for a reason. Why? Because
Absolutely.
women are the primary caregivers for the children, and they have to be attuned to that emotion because that's
Men
how you raise a
provide and
child.
protect, and women nurture.
Yep, and that's how you raise a child.
Absolutely.
So, getting into how this got started. So you're saying this is a
It's a national.
movement.
Yeah. So
How big is it nationally?
I don't know the numbers, but I can tell you it's in all 50 states. And the founder, Kimberly Fletcher, her husband worked at the Pentagon. And on 9/11, his daughter needed to get her inhaler, but he had to take her to get her a new military ID. But he was supposed to be at work when 9/11 happened at the Pentagon. And so Kimberly Fletcher has said that day turned her from patriotic into a patriot. And that's why she started Moms for America. And so my moment was COVID, where I was like, okay, I'm done just loving my country. It's time to fight for my country. But we have hundreds of thousands of women probably sign the Declaration of Mothers. And yeah, we're kind of all over. We have a national podcast, a national TV episodes called The Mom View. So I'm just part
The
of
mom view
the Mom View.
against the view.
Yeah, so it's a really good show. There's a great
I
blog.
wish it was as popular as the
I
view because
know.
we really need something that goes against those hags. So.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, we're just a group of moms on a mission to fight for our country and fight for our children. We want to instill that love of country that they are not getting in the schools.
So what are some of the events that have been sponsored either nationally or here locally that
Yeah.
people can see?
So we did a mom panel where we were hosted by First Baptist Church in Layton. And we just went and talked and answered most of the common questions about what Moms for America is about. We had last summer an old-fashioned family picnic. No politics, just egg and spoon races, three-legged races, potato sack races, and food. We did a memorial walk for Charlie Kirk because a group of us were there. There was about 7 of us there that day. Right now, we're working on getting moms together for a lunch at the Capitol for the education intern. So we want moms to come and have lunch with us and talk about the legislative process. It seems scary, but we have to get involved. And in Utah, our legislators, they are accessible. Like, we can talk to them. Yeah. So that's what we're working on right now. So
And then nationally, what's the national working on?
they're always working on men and women's sports. They're working on abortion issues, things like that. All the kind of like conservative family values. They want families to be able to afford living. We want the border closed. They work well with President Trump. I mean, Kimberly Fletcher is always in the White House. She was just recently on the news because Moms for America got labeled as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Group.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Who are you accused of hating?
We hate everybody.
Oh,
We hate LGBT people. We hate minorities, all the things.
You hate immigrants.
Hate immigrants, even though a couple of our members are here. One is a refugee from Venezuela, and her kids actually hid in the bathroom during the ICE protest at their high school because the kids who are not here for safety, the kids that were born here, were bullying them, trying to get them to protest ICE.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but they're here because their lives were in danger in Venezuela. And we have these privileged kids, who know absolutely nothing of what else is going on in the world.
Well, that was obscene during the whole Venezuela thing because you had, my wife's from Colombia. My brother-in-law lives in Venezuela. He's raised his entire family in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Her entire family's from down there. And you had all these Venezuelans just out in the streets. Yay, Trump, we love this. Keep going, keep going. And then 2 blocks away, you've got all these purple-haired, orange-haired girls like, put Maduro back in power. We shouldn't have been down there. Why did... We're usurping authority. I'm like, and the same thing's happening in Iran now too, right? You got all the Iranians, the Persians, because they're trying to call themselves Persians because they're trying to get rid of that Iranian affinity, and they're like, Trump, come in, because Trump's not going to put boots on the ground, but they're saying, please, we need the Ayatollah to fall.
They want to be free,
begging, pleading, and then you got the entire left like, again, there's the United States. We're going and usurping our authority everywhere. We're depressing everybody. We're enforcing our politics on the rest of the world. And I'm like, and then that narrative just spins and it spins and it spins and it just destroys what's really going on.
I argued with so many moms online about the protests. I'm so glad our kids are learning their voice. I'm like, you're not teaching your kid anything that's going to give them success in the future. You teach them the laws, how to obey the law, how to change the law, how to advocate for the changes that they want. You do not allow them to throw giant tantrums and turn into adults that would spit on ICE officers and kick police vehicles. That is what you don't want to do. But, that's what's going on, right?
Yeah, you would never see the best generation come back from World War II doing things like this.
Yeah.
Those kids came back with respect. Why? Because they went over and they fought and they died.
Yeah.
And they had friends die. And they were all 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids.
Yeah.
They knew what it cost to have our freedoms here.
Yes.
So much good comes from trials. And I've already heard you mention 3 things. COVID made you wake up and want to be part of that. The young girl from 9/11 is in a trial and decides she's going to, you just feel like the Lord, it's like the Lord can touch you.
Of course, everything can be used for our good. If we're going to experience, trials and tribulations in this life, that's what's supposed to happen. And look, I'm going to be engaged in a good fight wherever it is, but we have to learn how to fight effectively and so that we don't turn into these adults that are just acting like giant toddlers,
Which is sad.
Yeah.
So you guys are out there trying to get more people to come and vote, right? Mm-hmm. Particularly women. You need to conservative women because
we want.
There's a lot of apathy. Going on right now. Oh, I just don't get involved. I don't get political.
I don't know enough. Politics is ugly.
I just stay away from it. There's too much yelling and screaming there.
Yeah.
And when you're not involved, bad things happen. So what are you seeing there, and how are you getting women involved?
We're just talking to them. We have Brooke Stevens. She is our director of civic engagement. She has created an app called Amplify USA that connects you right with your legislator. Like, you can send them an email real quick. Other groups can say, these are the bills that we're following. And you can look, okay, what's important to Eagle Forum? What's important to the Utah GOP? And you can kind of see the issues that groups it's important to them. So like for Moms of America, we want to follow bills that are going to affect families, bills that are going to affect education and things like that. And we just want to help moms learn the process so it's not as intimidating to them. But, I want all women to be involved. I tend to believe that the more they're involved, the more they will lean conservative as they learn the issues. I believe that. But look, I am okay if things don't go my way legislatively, as long as it's the people making the decisions. Like abortion, for example. The country is not where I am, but I can live with that as long as I stand up for what I believe in. And then if the vote doesn't go my way, that's fine. But I want everybody involved. I don't want the government making decisions for us.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
Or a fake narrative making the decisions, right? Because education is a big problem right now.
It is a big problem.
It's a big problem because people go to the news. Mm-hmm. Social media is getting more and more popular nowadays. A lot of people are turning to that. But social media nowadays is just a parrot show of liberalism out there, liberal media, depending on how your feed works, right? Because the feeds, the algorithms are definitely not pro-conservative. So you have to put some work into actually searching for conservative stuff in order to switch your algorithm to where all you're getting is conservative feed, or else it will feed you exactly what
they want
the liberal side wants you to believe.
Yeah, and I mean, education, we have really worked hard at going against the ethnic studies, the SEL, the DEI, that's teaching our kids to be victims and teaching them like things like it's just about separating them from their parents and allowing them to rely on the government or the education establishment to teach them things that it's their parents' responsibility to do. You're a victim. Your parents should have protected you from the trauma that you're facing. If they don't affirm you, they don't really love you. Just all those things that's trying to get between parent and child. Destroy the family, really.
So how are you reaching these women?
We're just doing our best. We're talking to anyone that will talk to us. You know, we have social media, so we make, you know, videos on Facebook and we interview candidates. We interview people in the education sphere. We go to conferences like the state director and I went to Defending Education conference in Chicago. And so wherever there's conversations happening, we want to be there up front in our purple shirts. And so we're just trying our best, just like you guys are, you know, trying to get people to talk to us.
And how successful do you think you're being? How many moms are you pulling in? How many?
Oh, gosh, there's so many. But to be honest, all moms are at different ages and stages. So it's really tough for a mom who's got, you know, little kids, 4 or 5 little kids.
That feels like one more thing.
That, you know, she's like, I can't go with you guys to the legislative session because my kids are small. I'm like, that's okay. We're going to go for you. I'm going to call you afterwards and tell you what happened. We have, you know, a little group chat and we just try and keep each other involved. But it is hard because politics has this stigma that it's ugly, and it can be, but if we don't do something, it will continue to go downhill. The prices, it'll be unaffordable to be a family. You already, I feel like, can't send your kids to public schools without them coming home at the end of the day and talking, okay, what did you learn? What is your teacher saying? You know, my son they had to watch CNN when he was in like 4th, 5th grade. And I'm like, okay, well, we need to talk about what you're seeing on CNN and tell me what the teacher talks about. So the days of us like sending our kids to school and trusting that they're only learning math and science, if a time ever existed, that is long gone. We have to be involved at every level to make sure that our kids are not being indoctrinated, because there's like a concerted effort across the country to teach these kids things of the liberal agenda.
And I think part of the education needs to be educating kids that to live in a republic, we have a responsibility to be involved at whatever level for whatever stage of life we're in.
Right.
But we're supposed to be involved.
Absolutely. Citizenship used to be a duty. And I think about, the stories I'm learning or relearning about our founding fathers and the things that they were willing to sacrifice for our freedom. And it's worth it. It is worth giving your life so that your children can be free. And I tell moms this, and it might sound dramatic, but there is absolutely nothing that the women and mothers of this country cannot accomplish if we work together. Absolutely nothing.
Particularly if it's on the conservative side.
Yeah. If it's in a good cause, if God is for us, who can stand against us?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And the religious side of things is waning pretty bad too.
Yeah.
And women have to understand, we know you're busy, that we know there's soccer games, and ballet and cheerleading. And
all 3 of my kids swim.
You're the taxi service for whatever the kids are doing, piano or sports. I mean,
and so many moms are homeschooling now because they can't trust the public schools.
We know the times you got to get dinner on, and the house is a mess, and you got to get the laundry.
For sure.
We all get it. So getting involved doesn't necessarily meaning I have to go to the Capitol building or I have to go to these civic meetings or something like this. Getting involved often means when you're out with the stroller walking your kids, or your kids are playing with the other kids, and you're talking to other moms, don't just talk about what Sally's doing down the street or the modern gossip.
Or whether you're going to get Botox
Yeah.
or...
Yeah, no, I tell
Get down
women all the time because they want to know what they have to do to be involved. I'm like, you don't have to go to every event like I do. I'm at a stage in my life where my kids, I can go. Said, but what I need you to do is talk to me. What I need you to do is shoot an email to your state senator or your state house rep. Tell them how you feel about certain bills. That's all.
Or even beyond that, it's let your neighbors and your friends
Talk to
know
your
what
neighbors and
you
family.
believe, because it will pull out beliefs in them, and maybe they
Absolutely.
have this skewed thoughts of what is reality,
Because
right?
a lot of women feel like they're alone because the media is telling them everybody feels this way.
And you'll be
so,
surprised at how many neighbors
Exactly.
are believing the narrative, and you're like, no.
Yeah, they just
And
need to
don't be
know they're not
afraid
alone.
of saying the truth. People are so afraid of losing friends that
Yeah, they don't want to rock the boat.
They don't want to rock the boat. So be nice about it, but you've got to start portraying a conservative voice, a God-fearing voice, because if you don't, your neighbors will vote the wrong direction,
Absolutely.
and they will skew our elections, and that's where
Absolutely.
Utah goes California, or these other states go liberal, or we
Yeah.
get socialism. We had a whole podcast last week on how fast socialism is taking over this country, particularly amongst the rising generation. And again, the biggest demographic where socialism is spreading is the 18 to 28-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And it's horrific, but that's where they're turning to. But if you don't talk about it, if you're afraid to talk about it with your very own friends and neighbors,
Right.
how do you bring them more conservative, more God-fearing, where
I know.
you're voting as a unit conservatively
Yeah.
that
Well,
actually
we
makes
don't
life
have
better
enough
for
people
us?
involved, right? So I got up, or I raised my hand in church and I said, we have so little people voting. If everybody in this building voted, we could control what happened in Lehigh elections. If everyone in our neighborhood voted, we would have a strong say in what happened in Utah County, but we just don't. We don't vote. And we have to start, because there are groups out there who are actively deceiving women. I'm talking about MWEG. I'm sure you ladies are lovely. I've never met a member of them, but the things that they are saying are just completely untrue. Like, the SAVE Act will keep certain people from voting. No, it won't. And if anyone tells you that, ladies, they are either ignorant or they think that you are. I promise you, there is not a woman that cannot get registered to vote. No matter her situation, if she is a United States citizen, she will be able to vote.
Doesn't matter if she's divorced or not. 'Cause
Nope. Doesn't matter if
again,
she's
that's-
married and didn't change her name or changed her name. None of that matters. No.
And that's again where they pull at the heartstrings, right?
Yes.
They spin a false narrative, pull at the
Right.
heartstrings, and all of a sudden something that's false is true.
Right.
And it's so misleading, but it
Yeah.
works.
It works.
It works, and it's pulling everybody in the wrong direction.
Yeah, because they say things like, "Oh, to be fair," like the redistricting. Well, it's fair for everyone to get a say. Look, no, that's not how it goes. When I lived in California, believe me, I wanted more Republican representative, but you cannot take it by force. It has to follow the law, the Utah State Constitution. Like, that's how it has to happen. And in my own, church group, someone got offended that I wanted to invite women over to my home to learn about America. Well, she wasn't offended, but she was worried people would be offended. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard,
And the very reason why this country is falling.
Exactly. Because we've gotten to a point where talking about America might be offensive. That's just absolutely
Well,
absurd.
look at Britain right now. So
Yes.
it is offensive to raise the British flag. Nobody does it.
Right.
I was watching a podcast the other day, and they says, if you have a British flag out, we know who you are. All of a sudden, because you're an extremist, right?
Yeah, they say that about America too now.
Not as bad as
Right, not as bad,
But
but-
I mean, everybody still hangs American flag and has American flag clothes and all this kind of stuff over there. But it's in certain cities, deep blue cities, it's definitely getting to that point.
Yeah.
But if the conservative values of Christian values get to that
Yeah.
point where you're afraid to show what you believe and you're afraid to demonstrate your values and stand up for your values, where are we going to go with that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where are you going to go with that? Even if I don't talk about the country and politics very much, even if I talked about just Christian values,
Right.
Christian values will not allow me to be liberal.
Right.
And anybody can, that statement alone will catch fire.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Christian values will not allow you to be liberal. It just won't. The abortion doesn't work. Family values doesn't work.
The social programs don't
Social
work.
programs don't work. Even immigration doesn't
work.
It doesn't work because the values are not coming in with those people that come in illegally.
And God's house is a house of order. We have to have order.
Everything has to have an house of order.
Is it?
But if I go to your heartstrings and say, well, we're depressing people. We're the ones that are causing this. Like we listened to the Democrat Socialists of America last week, and the lady there was like, we did that. We were out there oppressing these other countries. We're the ones causing all this. I'm like, so we're causing them to vote in leaderships that are socialist. And then I was all up against how we were causing that. And then funny, and we'll probably discuss this. We got a Latin podcast coming in a couple of weeks, so we're probably going to discuss this in a lot more detail. But then I saw this report that I saw was fascinating. It has nothing to do with this podcast, but it's fascinating enough to kind of mention it. So if you look at Latin America, if you look at Colombia, El Salvador, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, and I think there's like 2 other countries that all within just the last 6 to 10 months have all voted in very, very conservative presidents. And the Colombian one, it gets sworn into office Sunday. So the day this thing comes out, he'll get sworn in. And President Trump had to send down poll watchers because they're afraid that the then president, who was a known cartel guy, wouldn't allow a peaceful transition of power. And then President Trump is even sending down some stealth bombers and some jets just to fly over, just to show fear, so that there's nothing funky
Strength.
but nothing funky as that transition of power. But the interesting thing is the note that I saw was, look at when USAID was shut down,
Right.
and then look when all these conservatives started getting voted into office. And he says, and we weren't involved.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is a very good point.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, within 3 months of USAID getting shut down, all these conservative presidents, all of a sudden, they had budgets, they had money, they outspent the other side. The other side were lacking funds, didn't have the funds to run.
Yeah.
I'm like, where were they getting all their funds, and who was pushing that narrative?
Yeah, they were stealing it from us. Yeah. And I said to people, I'm like, they're not just stealing from Republicans, they're stealing from Democrats too. Like, they're stealing from the American people. All that fraud, like, that's something that we should all be able to come together on. But,
So people in our government were pushing
yeah,
socialist agendas in every other country out there, not only trying to bring it here. But that's the bigger problem. Socialism is probably the biggest evil facing our generation right now.
Right. It's always been a great evil, and it always will be. It has never succeeded, not a single time. It never will. It can't possibly. So
Not unless everybody who was a member was a righteous person.
right, that's what
Only way that works.
it'll.
But that's not socialism.
As long as we're mortal.
That's like the law of consecration, right? When Christ is here
Exactly.
and everybody gives what they can and takes what they need, then it will work. But until Christ is here, that will not work. Right?
Yeah. Oh, then they bring up all these excuses. Well, the public library and police and fire, that's all socialism. That's all us. I'm like, no,
No.
What? The library?
that's not socialism. Just because you're taking taxpayer dollars and you're paying for a general library, or you're paying for the police, you're paying for fire, or
Yeah.
you're paying for public education, that's not socialism. They're like, yes, it is. That's social because you're pulling from the public. You're paying for something. Like, no, you have no idea what socialism is.
Yeah. Well, I struggle.
I
with
had that
public
comment 2 days
education.
ago on there. On you'll see it in our.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with public education because they'll never have enough money. They want more and more and more.
Oh, we talk way too much about public education because it's not that they'll never have enough money. It's just that you don't
They
have.
could have enough money if the top wasn't constantly taken.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's corruption at the top.
Yes.
That's why everybody wants $200,000 a year salaries,
Yeah.
and none of it filters down to the teachers.
Yeah. exactly. My sister is a teacher, so
Yeah, my wife's a teacher too.
Yeah.
So. And I'm sure that you guys, a lot of what Utah Moms for America does happens to go around kids in schools, right?
Yeah,
Because
for
there's
sure.
a lot going on with schools. Everybody knows what's going up in Oregon because you were just mentioning how the system is turning enemies between kids and parents. Your parents
sure.
don't understand you. They're not
Exactly. Yeah.
validating everything that you're doing.
Right. They're old. They don't know. They don't understand.
But that's socialism. And that's even more so, even communism, because that's what it is
Okay.
kids are no longer belong to the parents. They are a
Right.
product of the state. They belong to the state raises them. And that's what that agenda is.
Yes.
Is one, whether it's the LGBTQ agenda or the abortion agenda, there's that little side thing in it that's being done on purpose to push
Yeah.
what socialism and communism believes in, which is parents are no longer in control. It's no longer about
Yeah.
the central unit, which is the family.
Yeah.
It's about the state.
The state taking care
And
of
the state replaces God, and then God's
Absolutely.
gone, and then
Yeah.
now it's dictatorship.
I told people in my neighborhood, I'm like, they're not going to take our religious freedom tomorrow. They're going to tax us to death and continue to make choices for us. And some of us are going to allow that. And then when we have absolutely no power, then they will say, okay, well, for everybody's safety, we all have to be this religion. That's, I mean, everything
Well,
from
I don't even
COVID
think it's
to
going to be this
fireworks.
religion. It's going to be for everybody's safety.
No religion.
No religion.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
No religion.
But it will be
And
about
how does it
safety.
start? What you were just saying a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
You're going to offend somebody.
COVID and fireworks, and we're gonna make the decision for you what's safe, and people agree. Like, you know, the fireworks.
Well, it's worse than that.
For us. The
Yeah.
government
Well,
knows
of
what's
course
best.
we shouldn't do fireworks. Yeah, we can argue about that,
that
but
by
when the
ourselves.
government, yes, when we stop self-governing ourselves and start relying on the government, they just take more and more.
Yeah, when it's no longer we the people and it's the government, then it takes over. But it's
Yeah.
beyond that. Is what you were saying, even with your neighbor when you're bringing moms over.
Right.
It's, I was afraid you were going to offend somebody. The second you go down that road, the second you've already lost.
Yeah.
When you're afraid that your values, your religious principles, your God-fearing principles, your conservative principles are going to offend somebody else and it shuts you up,
Yeah.
the other side won.
And that's what I told, you know, the neighbor who told me this. I'm like, look, I am not forcing anyone to be involved, but you will not shut me up. You will not stop me. As long as I am here and have breath in my lungs, I'm going to fight because it's worth it to fight. So I don't care who gets offended. I don't care if I get kicked out of group chats or I'm no longer welcome at church or whatever. There's no way I am giving up this great gift of freedom without a fight. There's just no way.
Yeah, I love that value. So how do women get involved? Kind of.
Well, they can go to momsforamerica.us and sign up and start by just taking the free courses that are on there, learning a little bit. They can reach out to us. Our Instagram is Utah Moms for America. Just send us a direct message. We'll get you in contact with people in your area. We'll get you on our statewide group chat in our Facebook group, and then we'll just help you. We'll help you find your rep. We'll help you figure out how to get involved. And we don't expect anything from anyone. If all you care about is what's going on in schools, we'll give you the school board ambassador training. If you want to learn about taxes, we're going to set you up and help you learn about that. Whatever your passion is, that's what we're going to help cultivate. We just want to be a resource. And I personally believe, like every American, I believe that we have a fire for liberty in our heart somewhere. It's in our DNA, our spiritual DNA, if you will. We want to just fuel that fire and then let the moms go, you know? Give them the tools and then let them fight whatever battle they feel called to fight.
You know, when I was trying to get people to call John Thune or whatever, tell him
Yeah.
to vote for the state or whatever it was, and somebody told somebody else, they go, well, Ingrid's very well connected. And I thought, you're all supposed to be well connected to the people that work for you, the legislator. I'm nobody special because I have my legislator's
same.
phone number. You're
Same.
supposed to have their phone number. They work for you.
I tell him, I'm like, my house rep, Corey Malloy, he'll talk to you. Heidi Baldery, she will talk to you. Mike Kennedy will talk to you. All you have to do is go where they are, email them. They have their phone numbers. They will talk to
But
you.
we've gotten
especially
to
here.
this point where we think, oh,
They're
those are
so
elite
far.
people that
Yes.
are like, I'm little on me. I can't talk to them.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear from me. Well, if they don't, you better get them out of office.
Right, exactly. They want to talk to you, and they should.
That's a good point. If they're not talking to you, they're not. It should
Yeah,
be
if
an
you're
option.
not important enough to elected official for them to talk to you, they don't have any business representing you. So they should absolutely want to hear everything you have to say on every subject that involves legislation.
We the people. I don't
Absolutely.
know why people don't understand that. It's one government is allowed to hide things, control things, whether it's data centers or it's how elections happen or it's suppressing elections, whatever it is. When they get a mentality where they're the bosses, they're in control, I know better.
They know
I
better
can
than
do
us.
it better. They know better than us. That's where freedom goes out the door, and they no longer understand the one principle this country has, which is we the people.
Right.
We govern ourselves.
Yeah.
We're in control. The government is not in control, even though that is way skewed in modern politics.
Right. They've gotten way out of hand. And
Way
look,
out of control.
when I'm self-governing myself, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, but those are mine to make. Nobody has the right to tell me and my family how we're going to live.
Government has gotten way too big and
Way too big.
way too bullyish where it can bully the individual.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same way they say, well, the country, our country's so evil, we shouldn't be patriotic. Look at all the bad things.
Right.
Yeah, people made mistakes. They were actually
sure.
human, and lots of mistakes were made.
sure.
I'm sure you've both seen the George
Oh
Washington.
my gosh, incredible.
I loved how they showed, not a perfect human. None of the people
No,
were perfect.
right.
But everybody was trying to do, and we learned from our mistakes. That's why we want to talk about history. If we don't talk about it, you're just going to suppress us into what you believe we are. We're just evil company.
Yeah.
Or evil country.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully everybody goes on to, again, kind of say that one more time where they can get a hold of you guys.
Sure.
on Facebook.
Momsforamerica.us. If they just sign up, the national organization will say, hey, Gene, there's someone in Utah that wants to get involved. I will contact them directly. So momsforamerica.us.
And we'll put that below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys,
links.
anybody out there can get involved. But let's get into some of these other subjects now that we got that out of there. So one of the big subjects out there is, again, there's this big divide between the sexes.
Yeah.
Women are going more liberal, men are not. So we got a couple articles we're going to pull up and throw things out there and kind of discuss what's going on here. So the first one is this one. So this is a Gallup poll that came out February 2024. So it's a couple of years old, but there's been additional polls that have come out since then are showing the numbers even wider than this. U.S. women have become more liberal, men mostly stable, and recent polls have shown that men are not just stable, but are overwhelmingly going Republican.
Yeah.
So if you look down on here, women of all age groups grew more likely to identify as liberal between 1999 and 2021 before drawing back slightly from that position since then. But the steepest increases in liberal ID occurred among women at either end of the age spectrum. So age spectrum is older women, I think they were quoting 60 plus, and then obviously the younger generation. And I don't know why the older generation will all of a sudden switch liberal. I mean, when you get
I don't get that.
the older you get, once you think you'd be more and more conservative, but yet they're showing the opposite numbers.
Well, I think like the whole of not getting involved, so you're not aware, but then all you see on media and social media is one narrative. You figure it must be true if everybody's saying
And
it.
that could be a big part of it, too.
Yeah, they're being lied to for sure.
Because the older generation grew up watching 60 Minutes and CNN and all these kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's nostalgia where they continue to watch it. And all that feeds them is this liberal narrative.
Right.
And they think it's true now because now they're
Yeah,
a little bit more gullible. And
I went to my local senior community after the GOP convention to tell them what was going on. And a woman came up to me and said, I should care about abortion because I'm a childbearing age. And I said, oh, I do care. I'm against abortion. And she was floored about that. And she said, well, women are dying because of that. And she just had this completely false story that had just been shoved into her head by the media, that there was a woman who died because she didn't get an abortion. When reality is she died because of the abortion pill. That's what killed her.
Oh.
But
That's what I always wonder about her, where they're saying like you're denied for rape, and I go, show me which state that's in.
right. They say, oh, you have to travel out of state for an abortion. They think if you miscarry, that's illegal in abortion. No, they're just misinformed, and I think it's on purpose. Honestly, I think that the people who know better are trying to manipulate women with these like tug of their heartstrings. Tell them a sob story about a woman who died because she couldn't get an abortion. It's completely untrue.
Yeah, and if somebody's in that predicament and is looking for help, for heaven's sakes, reach out to Moms for
Yeah.
they'll get you the help.
We will
you
tell
need.
you
can
exactly where you need to go.
absolutely do that.
Yeah.
14% of women aged 65 and older identified as liberal in 1999, but this rose to 21% by 2013 and clipped to 25% by 2023. Also, an 11-point increase overall. Senior women in 1999 were the least liberal female age group, whereas today they are as likely as middle-aged women to identify as liberal. In contrast, liberal identification grew just 6 points between 1990 and 2023 among women aged 30 to 49, from 22% to 28%, after declining from a peak of 36%, which is pretty high for liberal, in 2018. The overall increase was a similar 7 points among those aged 50 to 64, from 18% in 1990 to 25% 2023. So there's a definitive increase, 10-point plus, of women going more and more liberal. And the demographic change of obviously the 18 to 28-year-olds, I think it says it in here, went up from age 18 to 29, went up from 12% to 18%, and is as high as 22% have gone liberal. I mean, that was just the increase, and so it's not the total, but just the increase. So we've got a huge issue with women going liberal, and so you're out there, you're talking to women every day. What are you seeing on the ground out there?
I see most women have conservative values, but their emotions are being manipulated. That is just exactly what's happening. The left is very good at making things sound good, like social emotional learning sounds good. Diversity, equity, and inclusion sounds good. They just don't know exactly what the goal of that is, Feed the hungry, don't separate families. Like, the left is really good at their messaging. Oh, we want the first women president, things like that. So they're motivated by compassion, but they're being fed lies.
And I think women nowadays too are getting a lot of their information, their news from social media. I mean, social media is a big thing, and how much of an influence do you think social media is having on the narrative right now?
I mean, anything that you take into your brain constantly is going to have an influence. What you read, what you listen to, what you watch, all of that influences you. So it just depends on what they're reading and what they're watching. But if they're watching the mainstream media and what's being pushed to them, like you said, if you don't search for conservative things, for Christian things, you will be fed what, the mainstream media wants you to see. So you have to go and seek truth, because it's not just going to come up.
It isn't. And people understand that. The algorithm, the initial algorithm that's going to be on your social media is going to be liberal.
Absolutely.
It's going to be liberal. It's going to feed you that. It's going to feed you everything that the left wants you to see.
Yeah.
And if you want to see conservative Christian values, you're going to have to...
You have to be very... proactive in your searches and in your content viewing. You have to read good things, watch good clips, follow good conservative podcasters and influencers. You have to search for those things, or they will give you the opposite.
Because that will reprogram your algorithm and start feeding you better information.
Yeah, and even though I never search for liberal things, every couple of months I'll get it, and I'm like, what is going on? So I just spend time watching full clips from conservatives that I like, watch full clips from Christian content creators that I like, and that will fix my algorithm. But every once in a while, they will try and feed me that stuff again.
Well, I can attest to that.
It happens, yeah.
I doing this podcast, I purposely go out and search for what's going on out in the world. What is not so conservative? And so my feed has a lot of conservative stuff on it, but it has a lot of the very, very anti stuff on there because
you're looking for it.
I'm looking for it. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm like, they are not saying that.
Yeah.
And I can totally see why a lot of women get pulled into that because I'm seeing what is on there, and it's shocking. I don't know if you've tried going out there, but it's shocking. Some of the narratives,
No,
some of the
you're
narratives are out there.
sending it to me.
I
just send them vomit pictures back.
Yeah.
I send stuff to her all the time, but I'm like, look what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just crazy some of the stuff you're seeing out there, and they say it in such concerned faces. And the funny thing about it is, as adamant as I am about conservative values, good Christian values, and how it's good Christian and moral values are going to help the country, and what the left is doing is going to destroy the country.
Yes.
They are just as passionate as
For sure.
these conservatives. They're gonna bring us down, and we've come so far, and they're just destroying everything we've worked for.
They think that we are evil.
Yeah.
They
But
think
why
we're evil.
don't they look at history? Because I just thought naively that after a couple of years, they would see all the scare that was put in when Trump gets into office. We're going to have...
That was my daughter.
We're going to have these... women are going to lose all their rights.
Right.
And all these... I can't even remember all the lies they were perpetuating were going to happen. Well, none of them happened.
Right.
So I would think that you would be like, oh, I was fed a lie. Why do we just turn a blind eye to the fact that they've been wrong about everything and continue to believe that?
I don't know. I think the same thing with like the climate change. Like I read this article about how like 85 to 90% of the predictions that group has made have not come to pass. Yeah. But still there are people that insist that we are going to destroy the planet's going to be completely destroyed in 5 to 10 years. Like AOC, said a few years ago, we've got 12 years, or I can't remember what she said, but they continuously are wrong, but they just keep believing that it's coming. How can a grown woman think really that she's going to lose her right to vote? How does that happen?
The only thing I can think is back to the popularity game.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be on the side of the celebrity or the popular group.
Yeah.
Or else I'm out of touch.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Well, the other big fear I have is there's a certain percentage where people are saying, well, the women are going more liberal, or the men are going more conservative. But if you look at this poll in detail, they've got the liberal side and the conservative side, and then they have the big group in the middle, which is moderates, right? Mm-hmm. But moderates scare me because moderates tend to lead more left than they do right. It's just nature of the game. They don't. It's like what we've been saying. They don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Right.
I don't want to get involved. Let's just stay down the middle of the road if that's what they want to do. And that moderates always get pulled left. Mm-hmm. Always get pulled left. It's. So if you're looking at polls like this and you're looking, well, they're just moderate. I'd have to say moderate is essentially a more conservative left, but it's not conservative.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And so when you look at something like this that says conservatism has mostly declined among 20-something women since about 2012, however, reaching an all-time low of only 16% conservative. In 2020 and 2021, the share of this group identifying as conservative has risen back to 21%. That still represents a decline in conservatism among young women over the long term, while the liberal identity has expanded. So the liberal identity is expanding. So even if one that's saying that 21% are saying conservative, that means 79% are either liberal or moderate. And moderate is left-leaning. That's just what it is. It's left-leaning. So to have such a low population that are actually conservative scares me, because conservative tells me you're good, solid Christian values. You know what you believe in. You have knowledge of what patriotism is, what this country stands for, and if you're going moderate or left, that means you're on that slippery slope, as they say, of
Yeah.
I'm falling left-leaning. And
Yeah. Well,
that's
look
scary when it's so little.
what they're being exposed to. You have celebrities accepting awards that shows saying, thank goodness I was able to get an abortion or I wouldn't have been able to get this award. You have like the most popular songs about not needing a man. I can buy myself flowers, you know.
Yeah, everything's selfish.
Everything is me. None of these songs say I can shovel my own driveway.
Where's the
you know what I'm
passion
saying? Like,
in the me?
yeah, so they're demonizing men. Feminism is just a total cancer on the female brain, like this idea that we don't need men, that all men are toxic. It's so completely untrue and dangerous to women to believe that way.
Well, how bad do you think, or how pervasive is this toxic masculinity amongst women you've spoken with?
I think it's pretty bad. I mean, based on those statistics,
Personal experience of people you've actually spoken with.
Yeah, well, the most of the women I speak with are married women, you know, who have good husbands, who had good fathers, had good brothers. So they listen to it, but I don't think that most of the women that I talk to buy into it, but it's clearly doing
So how do you branch out to the women that do have those values and kind of expand what moms?
Yeah, I just want to have a conversation with them. If, you know, we
Do you find
disagree.
any of those moderate
I do talk
coming to you and asking you questions?
Yeah, I talk to some of them, and some of them, like, I just can't change their mind at all. They believe that the government should do all these things for us. I've talked to women who think we don't need men, that men are awful, and, you know, we can agree. We end up, okay, we just have to agree and disagree. I don't think men are awful. I don't want to buy my own flowers. I want my husband to buy flowers. And the reason why my life is so good is because my husband gets up and goes to work every single day. And the reason I am who I am is because my dad got up and went to work every single day. So, but I believe that it is influencing women because there's so many women lining the streets, you know, marching for the right to murder their unborn children. That to me is insane. Someone I know, someone I love, took her children to march for the right of other women to murder their children.
No.
I just can't even fathom what would make her decide to do that.
Yeah, it's just where that compassion, that love, that motherly kindness is just turning cold. I mean, Scripture says that, right?
Right.
Warm hearts will turn cold, and that's what's happening right now.
I think more righteous men or more men becoming conservative or remaining stable will help women come around because I was thinking of one of my sisters, and our father left us when we were when they became divorced, and then we didn't see him much. In his head, that was mom's job. He was working around the world in different countries and things, and he kind of just checked out of our lives. So she had that hurt, and then her own husband was not a well-rounded person and did some horrible things to her. And then I started noticing we would just kind of say, oh, you know, she hates men.
Yeah.
And she did. She was like, well, men, and I don't want men people tell me. And so she was damaged.
Yeah.
And you're going to have people who leave the Republican Party because they find corruption. And I'm like, you're going to find corruption
Anywhere.
Every good institute.
Yeah.
There's still going to be bad actors. In our own state, we have people in our party that are corrupt. That doesn't mean I don't continue to believe in the principles of the Republican Party.
Right.
They're not negotiable to whether the people in them and how they're behaving.
Well, it's the same way with church, right?
I was just thinking that.
Like, people leave my church and they say, oh, well, people are judgmental. Well, I come from the Bible Belt, and I can tell you every religion, every church has people that are judgmental.
Yeah, and that person wasn't judgmental because they were a member of that congregation.
Right, they're just human, and
they're human,
wrong.
and that's their weak point. They're judgmental.
They'll answer
and
for
I'm
that.
not going to leave my faith in my Savior because there was a judgmental person in the bishopric or what have you.
Right.
So I think, men returning to being men can be a support for women.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that works. I mean, going over here, it says switching to men aged 18 and 29, this group has been historically most likely to identify as politically moderate. In contrast, about 3 in 10 on average have identified as conservative, and about a quarter as liberal, and that's in the past. Now in 2023, the figures were 44% moderate, so it's gone down, and up 29% conservative and 25% for liberal. So it's gone from, let's say, 3 in 10, which is maybe, that's almost a third. So, they're staying stable or they're going more conservative. And this was a couple of years ago. I saw a recent poll where it's even bigger than that, a lot of men are, I think it's upwards of 35% now are adamantly conservative.
Yeah.
Then you have obviously the middle moderate group, which scares me all the time. It's that lukewarm people who are going to get spewed out of the mouth because you can't stand up
with every bit of doctrine.
Yeah, every bit of doctrine. But then you got the liberal side, and the liberal side is definitely going down for men. It's going down, and so a lot of the liberal men are going to that middle ground of moderate. And this is even happening over in Britain. You can see over there, are young women more left than men, and if so, why? 2025 survey of more than 2,000 16 to 29-year-olds by Focal Data. I guess that's a group over there. For the John Smith Center, 20% of British women said they were left-wing compared to 13% of young men, although the majority of both identified as neither left nor right. So you got a very, very heavy moderate, but again, 13% of men are, 20% of women are saying they are liberal. Only 13% of men are saying they are liberal, and then you got this big moderate group, and then going down, 12% of women aged 18 to 24 voted for I think it's the Conservative Party versus 2% of men that voted for the Conservative Party. So, there's a definite difference between liberal and conservative, but again, my biggest fear is that whole moderate group in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I think that the narrative that's being pushed, it's getting women to do things that are not good for them. Like, it's making it, they're saying it's about freedom and being able to make choices about your body, when really abortion is never good and it's harmful to their physical and mental health. It's telling them to sleep around and do what they want. It's all about the self with the left. Like, whatever, me, what I want, my truth, things like that. And I think men, the reason why men are leaning more conservative is they're tired of being demonized. And I think that's also why, like, the dating scene, the marriage numbers are all down, is because there's just a huge divide right now.
Another factor is you have the women who used to find your identity or your value or worth is from your man or any man. And that's not true either.
No.
So then if you want to buy yourself flowers for that reason,
for it, lady.
Go for it. It's not that your value is in your man. It's just that he has value in his masculinity, and his attributes are of worth, just like your attributes that are different of our worth.
Right.
And we complement.
Each other. We are a team.
And that's why
that's the way it's meant to be.
Well, this is an article by Newsweek. How men and women are dividing on politics. This was done last year, April 2024. So again, poll conducted by Redfield Wilton Strategies on behalf of Newsweek between March 23rd and 24th showed that a majority of Americans, 57%, have changed their political ideology in the past 5 years. That's a lot of people changing their political ideology, with 23% of them becoming more conservative, 17% turning more liberal, which again leaves everybody going moderate. More than 26% of men, 26%, have become more conservative than women, 19%, while slightly more women, 18%, have become more liberal than men, 17%. So the numbers don't factor massive, but again, I've seen other numbers a little bit wider than that. Going down here below, the survey respondents answered the question, to what extent, if at all, has your political ideology changed in the past 5 years? It has always been the case that men, on average, vote more conservatively than women. Elizabeth Matthew, visiting fellow at Independent Women's Forum and Young Voices contributor, told Newsweek. What seems to be changing is the size of the divide and the shift toward favoring the GOP. She continued. In February 2024, NBC News poll, with Joe Biden was leading by 10 points among women, while Donald Trump was ahead by 22 points among men. In 1988, by contrast, both women and men favored the winning candidate, Republican George H.W. Bush. Women favored him by 4 points and men by 12, yielding an 8-point gender gap. So the gender gap is just getting wider and wider, where more men are preferring conservative values versus women. And it's, how much can that skew an election if we don't have women out there voting, if they're staying home, right?
Yeah. Well, if, I was going to say if they're voting liberal, I do hope they stay home. But yeah, they have to research the issues for themselves, and they have to realize that they are being manipulated. They really have to look into it. What does this policy mean for you and your family? How is this policy good for you or bad for you? And start to make those decisions for themselves and not do what celebrities tell them, not do what the mainstream media tells them. They have to look at that. For me, I don't think I ever identified anything close to a liberal. But as I got married and started paying taxes, I definitely got more conservative. I think that married women tend to vote more Republican. So I think the more you get involved, the more you realize we're not as far divided on like issues as the mainstream media would like us to believe. And it's important to have debate and talk about these issues so we can come up with a solution that we can all live with. But
in Utah, we have a unique situation
for sure
where that people get frustrated with is they show up at their caucus meeting, they elect a great delegate.
Yeah.
That delegate has the same viewpoints they do. So they're like, I've done my due. Jean's going to go out and find me a great legislator or senator who's going to represent me.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes in with money from California and buys their way on the election. And so then I get that from people telling me my vote, it didn't matter anyway.
Yeah, so many people think
why am I going to show up to caucus?
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
I was a state delegate at the convention where Governor Cox came up and
I was too.
Yeah. It felt like a slap in the face because I was there. I got there at 6 a.m. and I stayed all day and I looked up all these candidates and I really, really did my due diligence, and I was there to represent my neighbors and I wanted what was best for Utah. And to say like, our vote doesn't matter, and just
I'd done all my vetting before I arrived, and I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
What stood out to me the most is that I was present.
Yeah.
I witnessed what happened and watched on the news how they reported something very
absolutely.
different.
Absolutely.
And then everybody's like, you were there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it's a bad place to take families to. And yeah, that's what ABC News said.
Yeah. I heard our lieutenant governor talk about people. I was just like, that is not at all what
is so, and it's frustrating because you're like, oh, all you have to do is cut that and only say this part.
Right.
It's so skewed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's local. Young women's shift to left might not just be politics. So Deseret News, going local. Right? Are young women the voting bloc to watch? Recent polling shows that what could be seismic shift in the electorate. Young women are not only identifying as liberal at higher rates, but their policy positions have shifted to the left. This is happening as young men trend more moderate or even conservative in some cases. This is a much larger cultural gap and experience gap between young men and women, said Daniel Cox, senior fellow in polling and public opinion of American Enterprise Institute. This is the important part. Young women have a more abiding suspicion of these institutions like marriage and religion, and that might be connected to the demographic shifts seen in political affiliation and beliefs. And if you go down below here, 49% of women said they had favorable view of Harris, and only 38% of men said they did. As for why young men are not moving to left in the same way young women are, Cox said it is complicated. Young men have a feeling of displacement as the culture has shifted rapidly, said Cox. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to act and how to be, and maybe even how to advocate for themselves. So, I mean, the first thing it says in there is suspicion for institutions, whether it's religion or politics or something like that. Do you think that's just because a lot of them are, I just don't know, I'm not involved, I don't understand it, and thus I'm suspicious of everything?
Yeah, well, I feel like the mainstream media and celebrities are really good at making people believe that if they that they're controlled by men, by religion. Like, there's such a strong movement of people saying religion is harmful, religion is abusive, things like that. My church doesn't respect women, women can't be pastors, like all these things that they want to take women out of what their roles are in the family, in religion, and they want to skew the truth. And so I think that they feel like anyone who is telling them to be traditional, they in turn believe that they just want to control me. I should do what I want and do what I feel and follow my truth, things like that.
That's such a deceiving narrative too. Follow my truth.
It so is.
Yes.
Follow my truth.
Follow your heart.
Yeah, and it's all about you again, right? It's not about others. I saw this meme, and I think this kind of hits home, and half the meme had this old black and white picture had to been from the 30s or the 20s, where it showed a man in black and white getting home from work. Mom is at the stove. She's stirring a pot. She's got two kids right next to her, and he's reaching around, kissing her on the cheek.
Yeah.
And she's grinning and just doing this little cute little side thing right in this image. And it says, how did we change this from being oppression to, and the very next picture showed her, another woman at the stove, but this time she's by herself, has nobody else there, and she's got, well, I guess you got your cats to feed.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Because in the bottom it says, how did this become oppressive, showing her happy with her husband, she's got kids, to what we have now.
Being able to stay at home with my children when they were little is the greatest blessing of my life, and I am so grateful for my husband for making that happen. I don't know how anyone could think that is oppressed, being able to have that freedom to spend every moment with my children when they're home, and we only get so many years with them, right? Until they're in school 8 hours a day or till they grow up. I got to be there for everything. I sent my husband videos of what our children were doing, but I got to see it with my own eyes. There is nothing on earth that is better than that. There's no job, there's no award, there's nothing better than watching.
And it's not oppression, because that was your choice.
Yeah, it was a blessing.
You could have gone out and found a job
for sure.
Daycare.
I absolutely could have done that. I could have let someone else raise my babies, you know. I got to do it. I wanted to do it. I feel blessed that I could do it. So oppression, no, absolutely not.
How do you think this narrative started? Because obviously it started when women's liberation movement back in the 60s, right? Where in order to be free, you've got to put your career, you got to put your education first, you got to do all these other things first. And it was no longer about the family anymore. Right.
Well, I'm going to sound like a crazy church lady when I say this, but it's Satan. He's trying to destroy the family. Yeah. So that is his ultimate goal, to get women out of the house and stop raising their children. Because when women are involved in raising their children, and when you have that nuclear family, that's the ideal. That's when kids can thrive. But Satan does not want that. So he wants women to shun their role, their divine role, to bring children and raise children in this world. So he's good at what he's
destroying
doing.
the next generation. I mean, we have more juvenile delinquency. Right. If you look out there, every time you have a protest or anything else like that, who's out there protesting? It's it's the kids, it's the teenagers, it's the college students. You see in Florida and other spring break territories where they're having to shut down entire beaches, and police are out in the streets in New York and Chicago and these other places because there's these teenager mobs out there just destroying everything. And the one thing the cops are saying is, where are the parents? It's not one or two kids. There's 300 teenagers out here being hoodlums and destroying stuff. Right. Where are the parents? And you have to say, well,
it's because this generation is being taught that words can be violence. And when you believe that something is violent against you, words, you feel obligated or feel morally obligated to fight and self-defend yourself. So they're just being completely lied to. And so they think that they have to go out there and fight for their lives because words are violence and they need safe spaces. And
I see a lot of memes where they show the difference between today's generation and past generations, where past you got 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds in war fighting, coming home with respect. They dress nicely, dress in suits. They'd have self-respect. And then the next one over showed a skinny boy that very feminine. Yeah. Probably LGBTQ. And he's like, where'd the masculinity go? Where did we go wrong here? Because the rising generation frankly, could have not fought World War II.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened.
Because back then it was like you had a duty to provide for your family. You had a duty to your country. Now everything is about you. You shouldn't have to. Nobody should have to work 40 hours
it's all
a week.
About participation points in that.
Yeah, exactly. No one should make you feel uncomfortable. No one should hurt your feelings. Yeah. No one should.
We're all just wimpy.
Exactly.
No bravery.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. We talk more about mental health. We have more therapy, more prescriptions than we ever have in history. But people are more mentally ill now than ever. It's just an overcorrection. There was a time where you couldn't talk about this, and people had real issues, and they just, kept them close to the chest, and they didn't talk about it. And now we've gotten to the point where people think that they can't function because of, depression and anxiety.
And the depression and anxiety isn't even real. It's like my boss said something, or he told me I had to go and do something, or I had these responsibilities. I just can't handle it right now. I just need a break, right? And there's a lot of employers out there that are struggling to find employees because they rising generation can't take the pressure.
I can tell you, we employ mostly women in their early to mid 20s. I have had them say, I wasn't meant to work a full-time job. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, no, I don't know what you mean. I had an employee tell me that she can only work 4 days because of her mental health and she needs to go skiing. I've had an employee say that she can't get up in the morning. Over the 10 years my husband has been in business, this is what we're seeing. And I don't know how to deal with that. I'm like, I don't know how any of these girls will be able to be mothers, because that's a 24/7 job. You need sleep. You need a day off. Oh, I'm sorry, friend. You don't get a day off when you're a mom.
Well, it's even worse what they're going to teach the rising generation, right? I'm afraid of that.
Me too.
Because I'm an employer too, and I've had a lot of employees, and I get that all the time is, well, I just can't get out there and work that many hours all at once. I need a break in the day. And I'm like, where is that coming from? Because we didn't take breaks when I was kids. I mean, when I was doing my collecting cans or doing my newspaper, it was just an all-day event. And then you get others that are where you give them a specific assignment. So, okay, I need you to get this, and this done by the end of the day. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to get all that done. I'm just too much pressure. Yeah. I need more time than that. And you're like, this isn't complicated. Yeah. Or if I were doing, I could probably get all this done in the next hour and a half.
Yeah. Or they want way more money than the job. Like they think that they deserve way more pay because of like who they are as a person. So I've told several of them, like, if LeBron James plays basketball, he's worth millions of dollars. If he flips burgers at McDonald's and they pay him millions of dollars, they're stupid. So it's not who you are as a person. That's not what I base your pay on. It's the job I am asking you to do. And sweeping floors and changing trash cans, holding pets, that is not worth, this crazy amounts. But you can go and find jobs that do that, but they
it's a lot of entitlement too.
Yeah,
where
entitlement.
I can't survive on this. How do you expect me to pay bills off of this?
Yeah, you're supposed to pay them what it is that they need to live the lifestyle they want, not what the worth of their work.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
Like I would love to pay all you guys $50 an hour, but I can only charge people what the market says I can charge for, pet exams and things like that. So I don't have that money. I would love it. I would love if my employees could stay forever because I could continue to increase their pay and they could afford homes and all those things. But, a lot of our positions are just entry level. They're not meant for you to retire on, so.
And then you see all these videos where cops are going out and arresting these now juvenile delinquents and they're resisting arrest and like, don't touch me. You can't touch me. And they freak out. They have these little spasm attacks and mental breakdowns where they just they can't even handle their own selves. And the cops like sitting here, I don't know what to do with this thing, but you're going to jail. And it makes it look worse because now they're throwing them on the ground and arresting them. And these people are just having a complete mental breakdown. I'm like, what happened growing up where you cannot function as a normal human being?
Yeah. I don't know, but as we continue to be soft on crime. I saw a video where these women had stole all this, merchandise from a store, and they were being arrested. And they said, "Oh, I thought if it was under this amount, you wouldn't go to jail." And the cop was like, "Well,
That's
we
not
don't."
permission.
Do you know what statute that is?
And also, they were counting up the total based on the sale. And the cop was like, "I'm sorry, but we don't take the sales." Current sale into account. So you have stole this amount of merchandise, so you are going to jail. But they really thought the cops were in the wrong. They stole, but the cops were in the wrong.
And their rationales and they'd be used against them.
It was in sale.
It is. It's just like, well, it's so much percentage off, and the cop's like, yeah, that's not how it works. But they were fully committed to stealing and getting away with it because in that area, somewhere in California, they're like, we definitely didn't steal that much. We're going to keep under this amount so we don't go to jail. That's why we only stole this much.
And that's the same thing you're saying, like, don't touch me. And don't touch me. I know my rights.
You can't touch me.
It's like, which right is it that says that I can't touch you to arrest you and put you in my car?
Right. The things that cops have to put up with is crazy to me.
Yeah,
Crazy. And then we're trying to defend them.
I see videos where cops tell them to roll their window down 3, 4, 5 times. I'm like, I just come from a generation where if a cop tells you to do something, you do it that first time. I can see repeating yourself once in case they didn't hear. But the cops say over and over and over again.
And then you're just pissing them off.
Yeah.
And I've always said, if the cop is legitimately doing something that's against your rights, talk about it in front of the judge. Just let him do it.
Yeah.
Let him build his own case against himself.
Right.
You're not going to do any good fighting in front of him.
It's all recorded now with the body cams.
You're not going to fight in front of him. Just
right.
Make it easy on yourself. Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
The cop's not going to do anything about it. Take it to the judge. I just know what it is. But getting back to the point here is the whole reason why I'm mentioning all that is all those issues start in the home.
Absolutely.
All of them start in the home.
Yeah. Our founder says that the hand that rocks the cradle shapes the world. I believe that. Like, women are the heart of the home. They're the heart of society. Ladies, we have to get involved. We can't sit these issues out anymore.
And women's lib has destroyed society because
absolutely,
I don't think a lot of the modern women know how important they are to society as a whole because
of their
everything starts in the home.
Have no worth.
Yeah.
What could be more worthwhile than a responsibility to raise humans?
Right. They think because being a mom doesn't pay that it's somehow devalued.
Look how much the next generations have completely been destroyed because mom wasn't in the home helping the kids.
Right. Yeah.
The value of that is so paramount. It's so critical. And when you destroy that, take that away, then like you were just saying, Satan wins, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You knew exactly what he was doing when
Of course, he's been doing it a long time. He's good at it.
Yeah.
You know?
And in the same way that boys, when they grow up, they need fathers in the home. And you can see, particularly in the black community, that the fathers are not there, and kids grow up to be juvenile delinquents because they need fathers. They need both, but...
Yeah, we do need both. Statistics show if
liberal,
they come from a home where both parents are there, they do better.
Yep.
So...
But if mom's not there, or mom's like way liberal,
checked out,
then the next generation gets destroyed. When we talk about abortion, I mean, there's a Pew Research Center kind of goes through and says, well, what is the opinion difference between men and women when it comes to abortion? Today, nearly 2/3 of women, 64%, say abortion should be legal in all or most cases, while 34% say it should be illegal in all or most cases. By contrast, 55% of men say abortion should be legal, and 44% say it should be illegal. The 9-point gender gap in the shares expressing support for legal abortion is as wide as we've seen in the last 2 decades. Over much of the time, there were no significant gender differences on the question. So now you have this big divide even on abortion. Women, by massive amounts, want to kill their kids far more than men. And we saw, I mean, I've seen a lot of questions that would go out to where these podcasters or these on-the-street type of influencers will go out there and they'll ask a large sway of people, if someone were to kill a woman who is pregnant, should they be charged for double homicide? And they're like, oh, yes, in fact, yes, they should be doing that. Yeah. If the man goes over there and he tries to enforce the death of the child or has abuse of the child, should he be charged with murder? Oh, yes, he should definitely be charged with murder and blah, 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 and like this. So when a woman does it, should she be charged with murder? And they're either dead silent, won't respond, or they're like, no, that's different. I'm like,
well, look at the complete double standard with the way we treat men. If a man decides, I don't want to be a father, it's not right time for me, we can go to court, force him to support that child. And if he doesn't, he's a deadbeat. But when a woman decides she doesn't want to be a mother, it's her choice. You can't have both. So if women can get off the hook, then certainly men have to be able to get off the hook. Yeah. But that's not the way the left wants it. They want the woman with the complete and total decision. And as someone who's had a baby, the idea that someone else could murder my child the way men have to so many men have to
just take it.
I think that I would give my life fighting to get into that abortion clinic to try and save my baby. I know I would. And so the fact that all these men have no control when their children are murdered, it's heartbreaking. I've seen videos of them crying and begging. It is the greatest evil. One of the greatest
I've seen a couple of those videos where there's a man literally outside the abortion clinic
screaming,
just screaming, says, I will take the kid. You don't have to worry about it. Just have the kid. I'll take it off your hands. And just absolute bawling. And then he literally gets arrested.
Yeah.
Because he's out there screaming and the abortion clinic calls the cops on him and takes him away.
Yeah.
Because he says, you can't be here. You're protesting. He's like, I'm not protesting anything. My kid is in there. Right. It's heartbreaking. You see men all the time and says, why don't I have any say? Right. I mean, it's our kid. Well, it's not your body.
That's just so
my body, my choices. Is that narrative is so pervasive. It's not even funny because you had a choice. You made the choice. Yeah. And it's like society wants to remove responsibility. Accountability.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it is your body, your choice, but you made the choice.
Exactly. And I always compare it to being overweight. Like, I don't choose. If I had it my way, I would eat whatever I want and I would not be fat. But that's not how life works, So I can choose to drink, but I can't choose to not be drunk. So it's just this lack of accountability, and I get to do whatever I want, and I can ignore the consequences, or I can kill a human life.
But if you have that argument with them, because they can't answer it, they just go from that and take it to,
yeah.
well, what about if I was raped?
Yes, and I've talked to people like that. So I said, okay, if I give you the 1% or less than 1% really that is conceived in rape or incest, which I don't believe abortion is a good, I don't think it heals the mother from rape at all. But let me give you that, and you give me the elective abortions. They will never agree to that, because they're just using the worst case scenario to get what they want, is ultimately to kill the child whenever they want to, up until birth. If you can do that, then there will come a time when you can kill babies out of the womb.
Well, that's the thing, is it's gone exponential.
Right.
They'll tell you that's not happening. We're like,
It
what
will,
about
though.
that you can kill up into at birth and after birth?
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening.
There's also a sizable gender gap on the statement. The decision about whether to have an abortion should belong solely to the pregnant woman. Nearly 6 in 10 women say this describes their views, it should only be their choice, or very well fewer men, 45% say the same. So 45% of men say women's choice, right? But I think most of those men are kind of going along to get along because they don't want to get on the bad side of a comment, right?
Yeah.
Republican women, 38%, are more likely than Republican men, 25%, to say this statement describes their views. So even amongst Republican women, 38% of Republican conservative women say it is their only choice is theirs. It's not of the man's choice. That only they can decide whether to have abortion or not. And Republican men, 25%, this statement describes their views. So the statement again is, decision about whether to have an abortion should belong solely to the pregnant woman. So 58% or 6 in 10 of women say that it should only be their choice, whereas 45% of men overall should say it's only the woman's choice to have an abortion. And then amongst Republican women, 38% say that should only be the woman's choice, whereas 25% of men say it should only be the woman's choice.
I think this could change with education on both men and women. If women were, if they heard the heartbeat, if they saw their baby on an ultrasound, the problem is that there's a good chunk of people who don't think that it is a human life. But as someone who's had this human life in them, I know that my babies were alive. I heard that heartbeat, and I just knew that their spirit was already there. And I think if more women were educated that, and they saw their babies on the sonogram, I think that would change lots of opinions.
Well, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, my profession for the last 15 years has been medical equipment. I mean, I sell ultrasounds, X-ray machines, all that kind of stuff. And I personally own an ultrasound machine. I could pull it in here right now and pull it up, and I could show you. And I've ultrasounded a lot of women.
Yeah.
And because people know that I have one, so it's free. They said, "Can we take some pictures?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I'll come over and I'll ultrasound them, and then the machine takes a whole bunch of pictures, and I'll send them over to them like this, like nieces and nephews. I've done dogs, and
Yeah.
I've had cousins want me to see how many puppies they're going to have or something like that. So
Yeah.
Once everybody finds out you have a machine, then
sure.
people start calling you up. But the other fallacy is, well, we should have abortion up to at least 1 or 2 months to give people a chance, and then after that, because there's a lot of very, very conservative people that still believe that
Right.
early term abortion is not evil. It's okay, right? And they're adamantly against late term because obviously the child is full grown, but they're just as adamant as they are against late term abortion. They're just as adamant against
Or the
early term. And as someone who has personally ultrasounded a lot of people, I can tell you how quickly I can get a heartbeat.
Yeah. I absolutely believe life begins at
Well,
conception.
they were tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the first time you go to your prenatal stuff. Like, they do that ultrasound right away. I mean, I think it's as early as like 8 weeks, I think, like that. But even still, like, you can see videos on YouTube, on the internet, of the moment conception occurs.
Yep.
It is a miracle. It is a life. And we just
Well,
need,
even at
we need
6 to 8
education.
weeks, I can, on my ultrasound machine, I can pull up fingers.
Yeah.
I can see the spine. You can see the whole
Right.
spine development, and I can count the vertebrae.
Yeah.
I can see the brain. I can see the eyes. I can pull up the heartbeat and then turn up the speakers, and so doot, doot, and you can hear it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a big national effort about ultrasounds where they're trying to give out free ultrasounds to kind of
Right.
convince women to not do abortion. It seems to be working.
Yeah, there is a group called Preborn.
Yeah, preborn that does that. I see it on
Great groups here in Utah that will help these women get ultrasounds if they want.
So you talk to a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this topic so skewed where they think that they should be the only decision makers? Men don't have a choice. And why is abortion such a hot topic? Because it rules elections.
Yeah, it's
It is
fear.
the biggest topic when it
Yeah.
comes. I mean, this is the one thing the Democrats run off of is abortion rights. I mean,
Yeah,
they can win entire elections off of that one subject.
absolutely. So many women are single issue voters on that too. And I think it's a couple of things. It's fear, like they tell them, well, if you get raped, you'll be forced to carry this baby to term. And it's again making them believe that a life can be bad, and that this is a way of controlling them and forcing them to be mothers. And, it's going to cause you trauma to carry a baby to term, when we know that is such a small percentage. And I have talked to women who said to me that the baby is a parasite. And she honestly believes that. I don't know how to, I don't understand why she believes that, but she does believe that. And she is the one who took her kids to a pro-abortion march. And her youngest daughter was born prematurely. And I wrote a post about it. And I said, this baby, whom I love, could be killed. This baby who was born months early, survived, now vibrant, beautiful little girl. She could have been terminated at the point that she was born.
And it's just
So sad.
The Guardian, women and men diverge more than ever on support for abortion rights, poll shows. So this is Gallup. The last one was Pew. So obviously we went over the Pew one. One of the things on the Pew one I could mention here is men are more likely than women to say abortion should be harder to obtain in the area they live, 32% versus 22%, while women are more likely to say it should be easier, roughly equal shares of each. I mean, so women want more accessibility, men want less accessibility. But getting over to the Gallup poll, 3 years after the fall of Roe versus Wade, and months after an election that heavily focused on the fight over abortion rights, men and women have never diverged more on their support for access to the procedure, according to the new polling from Gallup released Monday. 61% of women now identify as pro-choice, but only 41% of men say the same, Gallup found. The same percentage of women identified as pro-choice in 2022, just after the decision to overturn Roe versus Wade was leaked, but at the same time, 48% of men also did so. Prior to Roe versus Wade collapse, men and women were never more than 10 points apart from one another on the same issue, according to decades of Gallup polling. So, again, going back up to the main point, 61% of women identify as pro-choice versus only 41% of men saying they're pro-choice.
It's scary to me. I would have, like, probably 5-10 years ago said, well, I'm pro-life, but I'm okay with other people being pro-choice. But what happened was I started to research and I learned more and more, and I listened to a doctor who'd done thousands of abortion say that there's no medical reason that a woman would have to have an abortion. You could deliver the baby early and it may not survive, but abortion is not medically necessary. but they have these false narratives going out that, what is it? The ectopic pregnancy. Yeah, that can kill people. And I had a friend say, if you had it your way, I would have died. And I was just like, no, that is not true. That is not an abortion. An abortion is when you choose to kill your child in the womb. Those type of pregnancy things are not an abortion. When the baby, when you have a miscarriage and they go in and clean out, your system, that is not an abortion. But they have people that are, I believe, purposely lying to these women to invoke this emotion to them, in them, that they will fight for these rights that are not, they're not healthy for them. It's not good for their physical health to have an abortion or their mental health. As we know that women who have abortions are more likely to miscarry in the future, and they're more likely to have depression in the future.
I think there's major studies about depression because they're way more likely, and they do have continued depression once they've had an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to fake it, like, I'm okay, I'm doing good. I've seen women that have had, again, 4 or 5 abortions.
Yes.
And they're like, each one, well, it's just getting easier, I just keep doing them. And like, where is your responsibility? And you can tell they're not happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy about themselves. They're not happy with their lives. Or there's definitely an ailment there where they're now damaged emotionally, mentally. They're damaged. I don't think those women are ever going to get married.
Yeah.
Because how do you have children normally after that point and raise children when you can think back? And I've killed 4 or 5 of these now.
I think the people in my life that I have seen, so I have like 4 or 5 examples in my own life of women who had pregnancies as teenagers, gave the baby up for adoption, and then years later sought out that child. There is a connection that is established when you are pregnant that you just don't ever get rid of. You can try, like they have abortions, but the connection is always there, always. And that's why these women who even have the baby and give them up for adoption, then years, decades later, still want to find them because that connection is always there. Once you are pregnant, you are a mother. When you have an abortion, it doesn't change that fact. You're just now the mother of a dead child, and so that's what affects these women. They can say they're lying to themselves. They can say it doesn't affect them, but studies show that it does.
On the other side of the spectrum, I saw a documentary. I believe it was just called Justice, but it was a young woman who had been raped. And her rationale, she said, he took this from me. He took my virginity, took all these things from me. He was not going to take away my joy of my first baby. She had that baby and kept her. So she has, and then they show the child was, I think she was even almost college age by the time they're airing the documentary. And they just showed the beauty of the relationship she had with her daughter. And she said she was my justice because not only that, but she went to court against her rapist and won. And she said she represents my justice.
That is true healing.
And it was beautiful because I thought, oh, how do you do that and not give them up? But her rationale and the way she chose to deal with it was beautiful.
Shows a much stronger emotion.
And I'm not saying every person has to do that, but that's what she chose for herself to fight back.
But I mean, there are studies that say that having an abortion even after rape doesn't heal women. It doesn't. It's just another harmful thing.
I don't even think abortion's right there.
I don't either because it
rips that's what you have adoption for.
Absolutely.
Because it's not the child's fault. Two wrongs never equal a right.
Right. Exactly.
But I don't know a state where the law
and no one will approach that either. There's not a politician out there that will approach rape or incest and say,
or if if you're in the mother's in danger, that's the other thing.
Right.
She had the baby, they would die, and then you die, and
I've seen instances of that where the mother can legitimately die if they had the baby, and I've said, okay, I
you can live with the baby,
but I haven't seen a law, and I don't know
there's not one
law, but I don't know of a state that has a law that says.
But it's so seldom now because of modern medicine. Now it's really hard for mom and baby to die nowadays because
I saw a story where the mom needed chemo. If she got chemo, the baby might die. So there are situations where you have to make tough medical decisions, but it doesn't ever have to be abortion. You can pray about those decisions, do your best, and then I've heard of miracle stories where they survived, and unfortunate stories where the baby didn't. But we leave those things in God's hands. But when we are actively choosing to, and we're missing the point here, is that the vast majority of abortions have nothing to do with medical necessity.
Yeah.
They're simply elective. So that's the major problem.
Because I had sex, I wasn't responsible. And
Yeah.
now I'm
not ready to be a mother. I don't want to bring a child into this crazy, evil world.
Those are all the excuses here.
All the excuses.
I just want to have sex willy-nilly and not worry about it. And if something happens, I want to get rid of it. And it's just that's just what it is. It's just lack of responsibility. And abortion's gone even from that. It's gotten even worse because there's now legislation in place in Washington, again, one of the worst places out there. And then it's already happening in some foreign countries where you can have selective abortion. That means you can ultrasound and find out the sex of it, if it's going to have Down syndrome and stuff like that, and genes, whatever it is, and you can elect to say, okay, whether you want it or not.
Yeah. When I was pregnant, and this is in 2009, they asked me if I wanted to have this test to tell if my baby was going to have Down syndrome or a couple of other things. And of course, I elected not to get it because it wouldn't have mattered to me. I'm going to have my baby anyway, but that's why they do that test, so that, do
you want to keep the baby?
Yeah. Yeah. So your baby might have a difficult medical thing, so you could just terminate
It's not even medical. It's right gender.
Right gender.
Right.
Yeah. And if we continue to allow that to continue, it will be like there'll be designer babies. Like it's going to be a boy or girl. I want to.
Well, they're going to get into
a boy. She's going to have blue eyes. Okay, well, I wanted her to have brown eyes. Like we just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's going to get into genetic engineering now.
Right.
They're going to start engineering athletes. They're going to start engineering things and start manipulating the DNA. And so if it doesn't come out right, then let's try it again. And you're going to be gender or DNA engineering the next generation. It's going to happen.
Yeah, they've made movies about that. They're trying to desensitize us to because
that's all about is desensitization first, and then becomes popular next.
For sure.
Here at this point, it is difficult to tell whether men are becoming more actively opposed to abortion or whether they are simply becoming more conservative overall. Sad said, and she's studies this. Men are already more likely to be Republicans. And Republicans typically oppose abortion rights. A mere 19% of Republican men think abortion should be legal in most circumstances. Only 19% of men, Republican men, think abortion should be legal. So again, this article is about abortion. It's not even about our past topics where men are becoming more conservative than women. But they specifically mentioned that men are going much, much more conservative nowadays, are much more likely to be against abortion.
Yeah.
So where the love of man is kind of waning.
Our hearts are failing us. That's why I want so desperately to reach all the women. I want to help them discover their divine role in the family and in society. And I want to give them the actual truth. Not your truth, not my truth, the actual truth. And there is a dark force out there trying to keep that.
And it doesn't matter what Christian religion you're in.
For sure.
All Christian religions are saying you got to reach out as a Christian, bring people into the fold, bring people to Christ, right? Every single one of them say that. And I think that's going to be far more effective than reaching out to them politically. Yeah. I mean, the political values are always there, and we need to discuss those political values or else they're going to be voting inaccurately. But we always say that every member or every Christian should be kind of doing some kind of proselyting type of effort and reaching out and helping others become more and more Christian. So how are you guys doing that? How is Moms for America, whether it's, and you don't necessarily need to be Christian, but how do you reach out to more liberal people? Because it's easy to reach out to like-minded people and say, oh yeah, you should be becoming members. And they're like, well, how do I get involved? And but how do you reach out to people that are questioning.
We just want to educate people. We feel like the truth will steer people on their own. So we don't feel like I don't feel like I have to force anyone to think like I do. I just want to teach them the truth. So our very first lesson is called Anchored in Hope. We're doing a statewide cottage meeting on the 20th. But it talks about how our rights come from God, not the government. So right away we start talking about God. Let's build on what we have in common. We believe we're children of God. He is who we get our rights from. And then we teach them the foundations of this country, those truths. And I'm just so excited to keep learning, because the more I learn about America, the more I love America. But we have to teach women the truth, and where all truth comes from is God, Jesus Christ. So we have to have those tough conversations. Not everybody's going to agree, but we have to at least talk.
Well, how many of the younger generation, the 18 to 25, 18 to 28-year-olds, I think you're pulling in?
Not many. We have a few, and we have a whole group, Future Moms for America. So, and again, this is nationwide. We have representatives in our state, like her name is Annie, for our Future Moms for America. So, but they're not pulled to our group because it's Moms for America. So I think they probably don't feel like they fit in, but they do. We are an organization for women of all ages and stages, future moms, current moms, grandmas. So whoever you are, wherever you are at stage you're in, there is a place for you with us.
Have you tried reaching out to any of the campuses and?
Yeah, I mean, I go to all those events. I go to Turning Point events. I even reached out to the Democrat Party and I said, can I know what your events are, so I can let moms know? They're very, very suspicious of me, but I said, full disclosure, I'm a Republican. But the lady in my neighborhood who felt offended by me because I'm only sharing, she's like, you only share your side. I don't feel like it's my responsibility to share your side. I feel like you should share your side. But fine, I will find out when these other events are, and I'll let you know, and you can go. So I'm not about forcing anyone to believe how I do. I just want them to, to learn. That's it.
How much of the population, the women's population, do you think are affected by LGBTQ?
Probably very little, but again, this is an empathy thing where they feel like they have to be allies. If your parents are against you, I'll be your mother. I'll be an ally. Things like that. It's comes from a place where they don't want anyone to feel bad. They want everyone to be loved, and I understand that. But loving someone means telling them the truth and being supportive of good things that they do. So I know moms that have LGBT kids. I know moms that have transgender kids. It's very, very hard. One of the women at my very first cottage meeting, her son came out as gay. She's, she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to say the wrong thing, thinking that she'll drive him away and he won't talk to her. So we have to support women in these situations and kind of just deal with it on case-by-case basis with lots of prayer and support.
Well, it's gender dysphoria is what it is.
Right.
And people don't hate it when conservatives call it. It's a mental issue. It's not real.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's not real. But the biggest problem we're facing nowadays is the affirmation. Schools, the public really want to affirm that younger and younger. There's plenty of videos out there you can see that, well, we've got to get into the elementary schools, and these are these LGBT communities where it's like that we got to get in there, we got to save these kids. And I watched one that she almost sounded just like a pastor at a revival.
Yeah.
You go as a pastor revivalist and you say, oh, we had 8 people come to Christ this week and we were so excited, we're doing so good.
Mm-hmm.
There's this woman that was doing some video on YouTube, and she said that we were at this elementary school. It was this grades 4 through 7 or 4 through 6 that we were talking to about your fellow students could be LGBTQ, and you got to learn how to adapt. And she was doing this whole nice, feel good, warm and fuzzy thing about being accepting, I guess, all this kind of stuff. And she goes, and by darn, we had 7 students come out of the closet that day, and it was such a great thing. And I'm like,
well, I can tell you that I personally know a teacher who currently is a teacher who currently has, for the next school year, a transgender student. And she is lower elementary school. And she has also, within the past 5 years, had a young boy who went by they, them. This is under 3rd grade. And
that's all the parents right there.
Yeah, it's 100% the parents. And she struggles with it because she feels she has a moral obligation to teach kids truth. And, pronouns is something you learn in elementary school. So she's like, there may come a time where I can't be a teacher anymore because I refuse to lie to these kids.
Proper English, if you...
Right. And that was her point. She did what I did when I had a transgender employee. I never called her by the pronouns she wanted. I just addressed her by her name. But there are teachers that would support and, do whatever, call this child whatever pronouns they wanted and celebrate it. And then there's teachers out there who feel forced, at risk of losing their job or, being canceled, called out, doxxed, that they have to participate in these things. So,
yeah, a lot of times we had a patient, this was my very first and probably only introduction with somebody that young. Mm-hmm. And the mom asked to speak to us before I took the patient back for an exam and let me know that this child is going to lose their mind if you don't, this is the name we're giving you because they told me the insurance, the insurance is not going to pay if you use this fake name.
Right.
So this is a name, but you need to address her as this male name and say him or they them, whatever. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to have a big meltdown, and it's just been so difficult for me. I don't know what to do. And this was my first introduction. Whenever that parent was around, and you slip up because you're looking at a chart that has the appropriate name and the correct gender and the true identity, and so you mess up, child did not give a hoot holler about any of it. It was all that parent, and either she's being deceptive or she doesn't see that it's herself and she's mentally ill.
Yeah.
But that was all mom, and it was really sad.
Yeah. When it's a child, it's definitely manipulation by the parents or peers, social media. When they're still an adult and they still feel that way, because I think like 80% of people that have gender dysphoria end up accepting their biological sex as they become an adult. If it's past that, it's mental illness. They need to be helped. Nobody is born in the wrong body. That just doesn't happen. And how would you even know? This is the only body you've ever been born into.
Yeah.
So you can feel at odds with your physical health. I understand that, but no, you are not born in the wrong body. No one is born in the wrong body.
Yeah, and it's hard because as soon as you get into puberty and your body starts changing, you start getting attracted to the other side, or particularly amongst girls where they start getting, instead of them having cooties and boys pushing them away and beating them up all the time, all of a sudden they're starting to get a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do with the attention. Yeah. This is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard, but then puberty's happened since the dawn of time, and kids get through it. It's an awkward stage. It's awkward for everyone. Yep. They're going to be fine if we just let,
There's been a lot of girls that have tried to transition back and said, I needed adults to help me and be there to understand what I was going through, and all I had was adults telling me, "You're a boy, you're a boy, you're a boy."
Yeah.
And just because I felt more comfortable with boys than I did amongst the girls, because the girls were always competing for the boys, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be normal. Yeah. And then instead of being just a normal tomboy and getting along, she had a double vasectomy. She was put on hormones, and she can't speak now. She can't ever have kids ever again.
Yeah. Have you seen Chloe Cole testify in front of Congress about how she might never be able to breastfeed her baby if she can get pregnant? Like they're sterilizing these kids. Again, Satan wanting these people to not fulfill their divine destiny, to be parents, to have families. They're mutilating, their genitals. They're giving them hormones that, my religious beliefs aside, no one can tell me that pumping someone full of cross-sex hormones is not going to cause medical issues down the road. Like, that just doesn't, that makes no sense.
Gender mutilation is gender mutilation. That's
yes, it's mutilation. Yeah.
So as a mom, now you're facing a lot of these subjects growing up, and you need support. You need peer support. And I'm assuming that's what you guys are providing is, getting back to your organization. Yeah. So we have LGBTQ problems, we have abortion problems, we have all these issues. Mm-hmm. You guys can provide a support and a backbone of other women going through the same issues. Yeah. When those type of things start going through legislative sessions, you can have a group of women that can go out and combat that. We've always discussed what happened in Oregon, where Oregon is, the laws up there can literally label parents as bullies.
Absolutely.
They can take your kids from you. Colorado just passed it where you can literally take your kids from you now. Yeah. Schools can now transition your kids, do the full medical procedure and everything without you even knowing about it, let alone not even having your permission. There's a lot going on. We've passed laws here where you can't have any LGBTQ flags. You can't have any other flag in buildings besides the American flag. And there's teachers just upset about that they couldn't have an agenda in the classroom anymore. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of laws going out there, and we'll get into this as well, about men and women's sports, men and girls' bathrooms, all these type of stuff. And there's a lot of legislation to try to protect kids, protect girls going on. And women have to get involved in that, because if it's only the men up there taking about it, then we get the bias against that.
Yeah, there have been men that have talked, that have spoken up for men and women's sports. They have said that women, we have to do it. If we don't, we're going to tolerate ourselves into oblivion, where we'll never win any sports, we'll never win any awards, because transgender men will come and they will beat us at everything. We have got to start standing up for ourselves, not just for ourselves, for our children, for our daughters, for our sons that are going to be demonized. We have to wake up the mother bear, the mama bear, and these ladies.
And a lot of times they don't even know this legislation is even happening.
Yeah.
What? They decided that already?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it, right? And that's where organizations like yours really come into play. So if people actually would get involved, and then when things like this are happening, you'll know about it.
Yeah, so we have moms that have different passions. And so, like, we have a homeschool mom. And when there's legislation that directly affects homeschooling, she puts it out into our group, and she's like, this is what this bill is about. This is, why I'm against it. So we just want to educate other moms. There are moms that are really into health. And so they want legislation about, the SNAP. School lunches, things like that. So every mom has, their own particular passion. If we can get other moms aware of what is being, legislated, we can make a difference.
There's the whole Make America Healthy Again movement.
Yes, those moms are so fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can get involved with, from keeping LGBTQ stuff out of our schools. Yeah. Letting that be an adult thing. Let the kids grow up first. Yes. There's the huge health thing. Mm-hmm. They've done large studies on what's in school food, and it's crazy. Crazy. What's in school food is almost poisonous.
Yeah, a lot of our food.
Well, school lunches they're saying that there's not much difference from school lunches from just prison food either. So it's how bad some of it is getting, and how low budget some of the schools are getting on it, because they're trying to.
Well, I thought Michelle Obama fixed all that. I thought she made healthy lunches.
Oh, I remember seeing videos of kids just dumping all this food in the garbage because, it was not good. It was bland. It was, not tasty.
Well, they passed that law, the share table.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of dumping all your food into it, they try to pass a law that if you weren't going to eat it and it wasn't touched, that you could put it on a table. If someone else wanted it, they can just come and grab it.
Oh, wow.
And people are fighting against that and saying, no, that you shouldn't allow kids to come up and get other people's food. I'm like,
if someone's going to throw it away.
If you got
they act like it's unsanitary. How sanitary do you think those elementary kids are at the table?
Oh, I know. I know.
And how many school lunch kids that do not have a lot of money at home would love to go to a table and just pick up food, right? But there's a lot of stuff women can get involved with. But one of the main things you mentioned was obviously boys and girls sports.
Yes.
We pulled this one up. When boys run and girls races, a data-driven look at fairness. So if you were to look down here below, and since 2015, there has been a significant increase in male participation in female sports. A large proportion of these cases have occurred within scholastic settings, almost all of them actually, ranging from middle school through collegiate level athletes, with the majority occurring in high school, which is surprising. I think more of them would be in college levels, but you can see the yellow here is high school, and the gray's like kind of other. Maybe that's the gray's probably city leagues and other things that are with as far as male participation. But the one thing I wanted to kind of point out here is performance results, how really bad this is. So in this article, again, this kind of, and anybody can go to these things. That's why I put the names and everything at the top. So if you guys wanted to research these articles further, you would be able to do that. But this is from Women's Sports Policy. This was done in 2025, so September, so a little less than a year ago. But again, the most important thing is these graphs here. So they took a study of men, and only men that have transitioned from boys sports to girls sports. And so they took this select group. So it's not all men, it's just men that have transitioned from boys to girls sports. And they measured or took a study of what they did while they're in men's sports events as to percentage of where they were in the percentile of losing to winning, right? And you can see there's only 2 or 3% of the men that were winning in the men's sports transition to the girls sports. And if they were winning in men's sports, then how devastating would that be to the girls sports? But as you can see here, the vast majority of them are between this 5 percentile and the 70 percentile. So the vast majority of men that have transitioned were not in the winning categories. You can see the 10, 5 to 70 percentile. So even the boys, and the study shows that even the men that were in the 5 to 10 percentile, even those ones were in the 95 to 100 percentile winning girls sports. That means the worst boys were 100% winning of the time in the girls sports, which is crazy that they would allow that to happen, because we had Title IX a long time ago to kind of equal things out, so women would have
their own sports,
and not only their own sports, but the university, the high schools were obligated to spend money to equalize it, because obviously there wasn't a lot of money in girls sports back then, and girls just couldn't participate because they didn't have the budgets for it. So Title IX forced the budgets, but now we're taking that away from girls again. So it's complete takeover. So the figures above illustrate the percentile distribution for 13 male athletes in the boys and later in the girls division. In the boys division, results allowed a broad expected spread, with most between the 20th and 70th percentiles, and only 2% reached the 95th percentile and higher, typical of random cohort. In stark contrast, when competing in girls division, performances clustered at the top, with half, 53%, in the 95th percentile and above. Concentration results at the top demonstrate a significant competitive advantage. Future analysis, male performance shifts. The cohort was split into 2 groups, top performing boys and lower performing boys in their own division. Top performing boys typically ranked between the 60th and 90th percentiles in the male category, while lower performing boys were more often below the 50th percentile. However, and they do have this in bold, as you can see right there, when both groups entered the girls division, nearly all top performing boys and a majority of the lower performing boys placed in the 90th percentile or higher. This illustrates that even male athletes who are not dominant among their male peers often outperformed the majority of female athletes when placed in the girls category for the top performing group. The results were even more concerning. The median placement in the girls division was first place.
It's like we're talking.
Let
Like
that
arguing
sink
about the
in.
sky being blue.
The median, the average placement of boys and girls sports was first place.
Yeah.
How is an average just the number one spot? So you're telling me that virtually all of them, because in order to have an average of first, you have to have virtually all of them placing first, right? Because that's just the way averages work. That's math. To have an average of first place, nearly 100% of them have to be placing first place.
I can't even believe this is an issue. It's wild to me.
But like I said before, how accomplished do you feel
Right.
when you get first place? If I arm wrestle with a 4-year-old and win, how great am I going to feel? I don't think it's going to accomplish the objective of going into the competition. I just don't.
Well,
And I also fear that because men's sports, arguably they make more money in media, in participation, whatever, that I think some of those people worry if you sanction, because we're telling them, go form your own league.
Yeah.
If you want to participate, and they're like, no, then we're going to be forced to pay for those leagues, and you're going to take away from our funding. And I wonder if there's some selfishness going on in that too.
Oh, there's 100% selfishness.
Yeah, and if they're like, if we have to already subsidize women's sports, we're going to have to subsidize trans sports too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the argument for the WNBA. Here's the thing. Like, I'm a woman. I don't want to watch women's basketball.
Unless Caitlin Clark's playing.
Yeah, she's amazing, and I'll watch clips of her, but I don't want to watch her games even. I want to watch men's basketball.
Yeah.
Even at the college level, I watch men's basketball. So, that's just, men are better at sports. And so when we try and argue that a trans person should be allowed with women, I feel like that is so absurd. Of course they're going to completely dominate women.
Well, it's worse than that. So we all know how good the U.S. women's team is, because
Right.
the U.S. women's team dominates every other women's team across the planet. And
Yeah.
our men's team is horrible. We'll get maybe top 10 if we're lucky, because all our men athletes are not doing soccer.
Right.
If we had our top football athletes and our top basketball athletes actually doing soccer for the time they're little kids, the U.S. would probably trounce every country out there, and I guarantee what happened.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. would win every single game from here on to forever, and there's not a single country out there, I don't care if you're Messi or whoever else you were, if our football athletes and our basketball athletes transitioned and they were as dedicated to soccer as they were in those sports, the rest of the world would have no place.
If we want it, we can have it.
Yeah, it would happen.
Yeah.
Right? But in our society here in the United States, we're just not incentivized to play soccer. It's football is everything in this country, and basketball second. But that aside, the U.S. women's soccer team is top because women are incentivized to play soccer because they can do really well in soccer.
Right.
And so because they're incentivized, guess what? Our women's soccer team dominates.
Mm-hmm.
So they took this dominated women's soccer team, put them up against a high school boys. They were not even old high school kids. They weren't even 18-year-olds. You're talking 15-year-old high school kids.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
15. And they lost badly.
Yeah.
Badly.
I'm surprised because arguably, like, you're stronger from here up. My legs are stronger. Like, women's legs are stronger than men's in many aspects.
But men have more muscle mass. They have greater lung capacity. Like,
Well, they thought this was a fluke, too. They thought it was a fluke, and they did it 2 years in a row.
Shoot.
So it wasn't a fluke. They did it 2 years in a row, and then they tried to get them to come back and do it again, and the women's team turned them down. And so instead of trying to do it with the national team, they did college. And so they pulled in the top college team and had them play against the same, different group of boys, but same age group. They're 14 and 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
And same thing, lost horribly.
It was like,
It was so bad, it was like 12-0.
Mm-hmm.
It was that the women didn't even score a single goal the whole game.
It's like that with every sport. Like Olympic records for women can be beaten by high school boys in track. Women's tennis, not the same at all as men's tennis as far as like speed.
Miles per hour.
Yes, it's not the same. And if we keep pretending.
Even Serena Williams said
That's
that.
exactly
She came
where I
right out
got
and
it
said,
from. That's exactly
I will
who I
not
got
play
it
against
from.
even high school boys because he said the miles per hour is just
She said they're completely different sports.
is completely different.
Yeah.
So now there's this report came out last year, the year before that, this young transgender student in, I think it was SoCal, the University of Southern California, something like that. And she was in the league with BYU and University of Utah and all these others. And BYU forfeited, University of Utah forfeited,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden everybody else forfeited. No one would play her.
Yeah.
No one would play this boy that was in the girls' sports. Yeah. And that hit national news. But
Women
then
have to keep doing that.
And just as it hit, this back east somewhere, there was another boy in girls' sports where he spiked the ball.
Oh, that's right.
That was in my home state of North Carolina.
Hit the girl in the face and broke
Yes.
her skull.
Yes, she's permanently disabled because of that. Yeah, and that's what women will continue to be injured like that if we allow this to happen. The National Moms for America ran a campaign about the young fencing woman who refused to play.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. We have to take a stand, or they will take all of the titles and we will get injured. Like, that's just what it is.
It's common sense.
It is. It is. It's common
Well,
sense.
I want to bring this together. So now we've been discussing this whole point about women's liberation, women's movement, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So where are they with women's sports? Why? Because they're not there. They're not.
Yeah,
They're not supporting.
just like Megan Rapinoe wants transgenders to be. I mean, now that she's won her titles, right? She's like, oh yeah, let's let transgenders in there. If there were men allowed in women's soccer, she would not have the titles that she does. Nobody honestly believes that. So
She wouldn't even be a starter.
yeah, she wouldn't be a starter. Nobody would know who she was. Like, and that's what will happen if we continue to allow this to happen.
So if women want such independence and they want the same thing as men and they want to be the same and act the same, then where are they with this? Why are they letting men and women sports? It's like they don't even care about the women. It's all gone out the door. It's like it's very, very selective.
Yeah,
It's too popular to support transgender rights.
right. Exactly. It's
Hip.
It's hip. It's what is labeled as compassionate. Like it being inclusive, and it's
TikTok says so.
yeah. Exactly.
Well, I wanted to point this out too. So LGBTQ demographics in the United States. This is according to Wikipedia. So again, everybody can look it up. Look how low the percentage is. Even California, which is the most LGBTQ state in the country, is 4.9% of the community. I mean,
yeah.
Utah
Utah's
is
one of the lowest.
34th.
Yeah.
3.3% of our population is considered LGBTQ. So, look at Washington D.C. 8.8. 8.8. They're number one there.
Also, they didn't put them in.
Vermont's number 2 is 5.3. So you have the point of showing this is that community is such a fraction of our overall society, so small compared to everybody else. Yet they are dominating the media, they're dominating the rhetoric, they're dominating the everything. It's like they make themselves appear a lot bigger than they really are.
Right.
And then that's where this narrative just completely skews the women's opinion because they think it's a bigger issue than it really is. Start pulling at the heartstrings.
Yeah, I mean, there's a worldview I studied in college where there's people that believe that they need to fight for the smallest percent, and I understand that, and I think we do need people to be a voice for the small people who feel a certain way or live a certain way, but if we cater to this small percentage, it's going to be at the cost of the majority. So it's just
Instead, you teach a respect for all people, just period. Not only transgender, just in general, you treat people with kindness and respect. You will find common ground somewhere, and you'll find a virtue in every person that you meet.
yeah.
If
I
you
mean,
can talk to them.
I remember when I was in school, everybody looks different, but we're all the same. We're all God's children. Families look different, but every family is that. Like I'm fine with teaching that we have differences, but what when I get annoyed, or what the problem I see is when, first grade classrooms have readers where none of the children depicted are white. None of the families depicted are nuclear families, so
when the majority of the population
is not represented. Yeah. So,
Well, that's what's happening in Hollywood right now,
absolutely.
right? You get the new Snow White movie coming out. You got the new Odyssey movie coming out. And
Even every new show, it's so forced that it's distracting to any storyline.
Yeah.
You have to have an Asian, a person with darker skin, and a blonde in every little.
yeah.
There has to be an
show.
LGBT character in every show.
Every commercial. And it's just distracting because I'll think, oh, are they trying to pretend like that's the mother? Or is that just a teacher?
Because when it's forced,
nothing. Yeah, it's too forced, and it's like I just like it when it was natural and organic.
yeah. I mean, because you're going to meet gay people in your life. You're going to have. I have a mixed race family. You're going to meet families that are the same race. You're going to come in contact with people who are different from you. That's fine. But creating diversity for diversity's sake is not. It doesn't do anyone any good.
DEI, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
It's where the minority just controls the entire narrative.
Right.
And that everybody has to cater around that, but it's not where it's a good, wholesome narrative. It's destroying society.
Yeah.
Go do your thing. I mean, we have no problems if you guys get married. I don't have problems if you guys do whatever you want to do together. Don't care.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Right? I employ your productivity or creativity, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't touch the kids.
Don't touch the kids.
Plain and simple.
Stay out of
Stay out of the schools. Stay away from the kids. Let them.
Don't get to teach my children what to believe. I teach my children what to believe. And then when they're adults, then they get to decide for themselves. But stay away from my children.
Yeah, I don't know why they think it has to be forced, because they think it has to be forced. If you're not accepting, then I got to force it upon you.
Yeah.
It's just like the whole charity thing, right?
Yeah.
Right? If you're not being enough charitable, so I've got to take it out of taxpayer dollars and force a charity upon you.
Right.
If you're not being accepting enough of the LGBTQ community, I got to create the laws that force
will never create people who are genuinely compassionate. If you force them to be a certain way, if you force them to affirm people and do pronouns, they'll never learn how to be kind on their own if you force it.
Yeah. Well, I think I heard that forced thing long before, right?
I know.
The principle
We
thing.
know where it comes from.
Where it comes from. Yeah. But getting back to women, so you have a great group that's dealing with all these issues.
Yeah. We're
Do
marching
you guys have
in
like
Washington.
articles that you guys put out on
Absolutely.
explaining opinions and
Absolutely.
social influence? and
Yeah,
all
we
this?
have the Mom View, we have the Mom Blog. We are regularly doing articles, and our national group does interviews on a national level. Like you'll see Kimberly Fletcher on Fox News. You'll see Kimberly Fletcher in the White House when President Trump was signing the bill protecting women's sports. Moms for America was there. We are there fighting all these issues. I wish I were closer because, like we just did we had a table at the National State Fair thing that was in DC. I want to be with you ladies, but I'm fighting the good fight here in Utah, and the national group, they're in DC. I know the state director in Virginia, Tyler, she's amazing, a woman fighting out there. So we're all just on the same battlefield in our different, areas.
So the nice thing I'm seeing about that is the education side, because like we were saying at the very, very beginning, the biggest thing precluding women from getting involved is that I don't know what's going on. I got too many things going on with the kids and home and all this. I just don't know. And you guys are providing an honest platform where you have the real issues.
Yeah. I was taught how to read a bill from Moms for America. I had no idea where to find bills. I thought, no way, I was one of those kids in high school that was a terrible student. There's no way I could understand it. One of my friends now in Moms for America, Brooke, she said, this is how you read a bill. The words in blue are this, the words in red, the strikes out means this. So now I can read any bill. Now, there's going to be some topics that are not in my wheelhouse, for sure. And I can ask other people about it. But there is no bill that I am intimidated to read.
Do you do a rubrics at all, like during the legislative session?
We haven't, but we're going to. We basically participate in so many other ones. You know, like my House rep had a spreadsheet. These are the bills I'm voting on, and he had just regular citizens like me and other moms and other dads weigh in. What do you guys think about this bill? And ultimately, of course, he makes the decision, but he listened to our feedback. I was on another one with the Utah Citizens for the Constitution, Liberty Forum, Eagle Forum. They all do those things.
I love those as a delegate and a precinct chair.
Me too. I
love
want to know.
Comparing them and
I want to know what they think.
And that's part of how I vet. I don't.
Yeah, me too.
Like the little flyer.
Because I don't understand every topic that's out there. I mean, I have listened to a discussion on PIDs so many times I can't even tell you. Could I explain it to someone? Oh, yeah, I could butcher it, but I could definitely get them the information so that they could understand it better. Like, let me get you to this YouTube video of someone who explains it really well.
We have a great YouTube video on PIDs, so you can refer to our podcast.
I'm really good at explaining.
That's what, and that's all I want is, you want to know about this issue? Let me find someone who can explain it well, but you don't have to be a political expert or policy expert.
No, and those are so useful for people who are like, I can't be a delegate. I don't know all these things.
Yeah.
There are resources out there.
Absolutely.
That are just invaluable.
I think the biggest and most dangerous thing for women, men, anything is to feel like you're out on an island, you're out by yourself.
Right? Yeah.
We have strength in numbers. We have to increase those strength in numbers because obviously the left is. They are... demonstrably increasing their numbers.
Yeah. That's what we want to get out to moms of Utah. You are not alone. We are here for you. We have, we're your tribe. Nobody is alone. We want to be there for you. Whatever your concerns are, I guarantee you we have a mom in our group that has those same concerns. We'll connect you.
The connection is all that matters is help me understand this. Help me know what's going on. I don't understand is this a good bill or bad bill? I mean, we had that problem with Prop 4 where there's massive amounts of false information. Am I voting the right direction? Am I voting the wrong direction?
Yeah.
And they love confusing the issues.
Right.
And you're a good source to be able to, this is the truth. This is what's happening. This is the conservative value. And
it won't even, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm going to get you to the source. Like I'm going to help you contact your rep. Why did you vote this or that on a certain bill? I'm going to get you information, literature, videos. I'm going to let you decide for yourself. I just want to make sure that you have access. I can get you the information.
To the true information, not the narrative.
Yep, absolutely. Then you can decide for yourself.
Do you guys have any events coming up? Anything you guys are doing over the next few months?
We do. On August 19th, we are meeting at the Capitol. We're going to provide free lunch for any mom who wants to come. And we're just going to sit in the cafeteria. We're going to talk about how the legislative sessions work. We're going to sit in the session and listen to what possible bills are going to be put forward in the education sphere in the next session. So I don't remember the website to sign up, but if you will contact me, Jean at UtahMomsForAmerica.com, or find us on social media, I will get you that information. And come and be with us. Just hang out. We're just a group of moms, regular moms, not policy experts, but regular moms who care about what's going on in our children's education.
Are grandmas invited?
Absolutely. We have an entire program called Grandma Grizzlies. We need the grandmas as well.
Well, we're very grateful that you came on today. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's been able to glean something from all this information we kicked out there. You guys can pause the video on any of those articles and go and read them yourselves to see what's going on out there, to see what we bring to the table. Definitely go up onto their website. All you moms out there, get educated, get involved. And again, getting involved doesn't necessarily mean I have to go to every single political meeting and state meeting there is out there. It's getting with your neighbors and expressing your values and creating camaraderie with your neighbors so that we have strength in numbers, strength in the group, and it's good, wholesome, Christian, conservative values.
Absolutely.
Because we cannot let those die, particularly in the rising generation, because we're going to lose the rising generation, particularly with how liberal our universities are,
right,
how liberal our teachers are. You're going to have to become more and more aware of what's happening in your schools. Like you're saying, there's a lot of women going homeschool because
Right.
just what's going on in our schools.
Well, we know there's conservative teachers out there too that need support.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
a lot of them.
find us. We will help.
Yep. There's always help. There's always numbers. There's always education. There's always things we can provide. If you don't reach out to her, you can always send us an email or information. We can point you in the right direction as well. Emails on all of our channels. You can catch us at USA@godandcountrypodcast.com. Again, like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you are helping us get the information out there, because information like this can help a lot of other women. Same with a lot of other podcasts. If the information doesn't get out there, then you're not getting involved. I mean, that's the very same thing we're saying is sharing this podcast, sharing this information is part of getting involved and getting that conservative word out.
Every effort you make matters.
Every single one of them. So, again, down below, T-shirts. Help support the channel. Get us out there on social media, and we'll catch everybody on the next video.